Do we have Spoonie, Timothy Spoonie?
Present, sir.
Margaret and Mary. Do we have a Margaret and Mary?
Yes. Cool. And the margaritas.
All right. Class here. We're ready. Let's go.
Yes, let's go.
Okay.
This is the time to line up behind your team, to support your team. Have faith in that team.
You know, it's peaks and valleys. You know, it can't always be good. And as I always tell people, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. But when we do know about
house call, Trevon Diggs pick six. It's coming. They see it. Knocked away. Oh, Gregory. Hurts in trouble. 3 Cowboys wrap him up, make it 4. Micah Parsons is unblockable.
was this, you know, you've added some music on the bottom. Is this the one? I don't. It was on the lo-fi. We're here now. Which one do we need?
I mean, we have a lot.
Is that the one?
Yeah,
the Spoonie Mini is the one.
Yeah, I don't know. No. Let me turn it up in the back end. I keep hearing we're too low with the background music.
Yeah,
I want to make sure we get it right.
You weren't having
I'm buying what you're selling, though. I'm buying what you're selling. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, Cowboys Nation, Pick Six fam, and also CFO fam, I got Jay Tuck coming through of the eve to Christmas Eve. Although he was here pre-show and black screen, so.
I'm not here. Y'all can't see me?
No. You're just a black screen now, brother. But we can hear you, though.
Well, it's crazy because I can see myself and see you guys.
Oh, well, hey, look, John Cena. J-Tuck is John Cena. We can't see you.
Let me leave and come. See. That's all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, black screen again. I saw the little meme, then you black screen. As a guy Sam said, Brother Darkness.
Well, yeah. I got a funny joke about that. Let me leave and come back, all right?
All right. I got Dom's in the bill, man. Was good. I can feel it. Hey, man, you already know, every Friday, man, we drop the link on YouTube. You know, it is what it is, man. Come up here, get it in, and interact and do the whole night. Gregory in the building. What's going on? My God, Mr. Interstate Battery out here in Longview, Texas. Over there, mighty cold in Cowboys country. Yeah, you know. Now that's one. Tony, special guest Jay Tuck. That's one. We might have another. Just be patient. Now. Be patient. Oh look. Oh, you're no longer John Cena. We can see you now.
All right,
we can definitely see you.
I was going to say that's karma for the whole Cowboys Eagles roundtable thing.
No comment. I got some says bring back Mary's. Man, they're in an undisclosed location. We're not going to do that. That was a fun night, though. That's a fun night. That's a deep cut for those that haven't been around. It is what it is. A shout out to Straight Toxic. I'm not reading all that. God bless you. I'm not reading all that. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, Tuck, you're in the motherland, ready for tomorrow.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man, we had some bad weather in Kansas City. So first off, CFO fam, I apologize. I couldn't get the scouting report out this week. Blizzards and everything, but I was able to kind of find through and get here to Dallas, man. So we're going to be out there tomorrow at AT&T Stadium for this matchup versus the Philadelphia Eagles, man. I know a lot of people's been talking about this one. I'm still excited about it. They're still excited about it, even though they're hedging their bets right now. It's going to be a fun game tomorrow. I think the Cowboys are going to show out. So we are here, Cowboys Nation.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit warmer over here than Kansas City.
Yeah,
not much. I don't know how much that matters, but
negative 10 degrees when I left. About negative 10. So yeah, it's a little bit warmer. I'll take the 20. I'll take the 20.
Very fair. Now, Spoonie on the back end here. Shout out to our guy SoFlo on the bill. What's going on, SoFlo? Spoonie in Brooklyn, and as we were doing the space, we were talking. You going upstate? Ugh. See, Buck pivoted to smidgely warmer weather, but you're going upstate tomorrow?
Yeah. And tonight we're going upstate. We're going to catch a lot of the games tomorrow. So I'm dreading it. I'm like, the weather sucks out here. It really, really does suck. I mean, the wind literally walked me across the street. I said, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't even think I walked. I floated right across the street. So, can't stand winter time.
Well, we got up, I was at the shop, I was doing things, and I blessed our group. I was like, hey, good morning, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, it's not good morning. No, it's not. It's too cold.
Man, my wife sent me on a grocery store run. It was 4 degrees. I live in Atlanta.
Yeah.
4 degrees with like a negative 21 real feel. I'm like, no, this is not it. I don't know how anybody else deals with that year round. Winter time at least, like it's too cold.
What are these wives think about? What the hell do they think about? You don't send us out in the cold weather.
I know.
Oh yeah, man.
Freezing.
Oh yeah.
Hey, my guy.
What's up, John?
I'm telling you right now. Was not feeling it.
I was not at all. I had to stop and get gas, and you know how gas stations like with that roof make like a wind tunnel? Never been that cold in my life. My entire life. I like being cold too. Like I was like, no, this is not it. I don't want to live in Antarctica. This is not. Yeah. So tomorrow, high of 21, low of 10. Crazy.
Yeah,
but,
especially for us guys in the South.
Yeah, that's why I live in the South. Like if I wanted to live in that climate, I'd live, up north.
What's that guy SoFlo probably dealing with probably like 70 right now. He's probably in the pool watching.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I teased it earlier. I said, "Hey, special guest. We got a special guest coming in." Is what I told everybody. Kept it on the low. And right now is your time to go do what you need to do and let people know. Obviously, Jay Tuck, fan of the show, CFO, back to Star Gang roots. Yeah, I dropped a little nugget here at the end of 22. The Star Gang time back over here to Pick 6. It's fam in the building. But with that being said, the special guest, the one and only. The one and only. Oh, yeah.
We're not
worthy.
Y'all hear me okay?
Yeah. Aisha, what's going on?
I'm a millennial. I'm just still learning how to work my earpods.
Oh.
Leave me alone.
Said
Listen,
I'm
a little behind.
how to work them.
Yeah, because I be hanging up on people and I say, hey guys.
Tim, how are you surviving
What do you mean?
this
Like
Arctic
this cold?
up there in Dallas?
I'm in the house. Listen, man, I'm telling you, I went through my job training for the military in Missouri when it was like cold. I'm not just doing cold willingly, so y'all can have that.
10-4. Dom says you're a little muffled.
Okay, let me see.
A little muffled, for what it's worth.
Can you guys hear me better?
Oh,
there you go.
It's good.
That's fantastic. Now it's just Tug muffled. That's fine though.
I'm muffled now?
No, Tug. I'm just joking, Tug.
I was like, damn, man.
I'm just joking. All right, guys. It is the one and only Freestyle Friday. We're in the building, right? We got Tuck, CFO. We got Girls Talk, boys in the building, Aisha. The link is there. Y'all can come up here, interact, come right through. and we got you on the back end. Drop in here on the downside, and I'll get you up. All right, guys, it's Eagles week. Let's just start there. It's Eagles week. I'm going to go counterclockwise around this thing. Aisha, Eagles week. What is it? Christmas Eve. Here we are. How you feeling on the eve of the eve?
I'm just ready for the game. I think I got the same energy as like everybody else. Like, regardless of who the quarterback is, this game is like kind of been brewing. And I didn't even realize till the other day that Dak Prescott hasn't played the Eagles since last year. So I know he wants to get out there and play. So I'm just for us, I think we want to see them respond to obviously this last week, but then also give us some more confidence going into this postseason, how they match up against like this team, the juggernaut of the NFC right now. So
right.
I'm ready. I'm ready. My family don't celebrate Christmas, so y'all, I'm probably just have a great time here by myself and watch the game. I'm excited.
Well, Tuck, I'm gonna come over here and shoot at you because the last time I checked, as Aisha alluded to, no matter who plays, Jalen Silver. Oh, our Jalen Silver, Jalen Hurts doesn't play defense,
Right.
So their defense, our offense. And here we are, Eagles week, man.
Yeah, man. I think tomorrow's business as usual. It's not really about the Eagles and the opponents, more about us and making sure that we're getting the right momentum going to the playoffs. Like you said, Nick's even though Jalen Hurts is out, there's still a lot of things that we still got to fix. Just from the defensive side standpoint, from the Cowboys' perspective, all right, how does our secondary match up versus A.J. Brown and Quez Watkins and D. Smith, right, and Dallas Goedert. So that's some of the things I want to see. How can our defensive line get pressure versus the offensive line of Lane Johnson and those types of guys? So there's still a lot of things I want to keep my eye on. And then, like you said, the offensive side of the ball. Are we able to move the ball? How does our run game look versus the defensive front? Are we able to get the ball in the passing game involved in CeeDee Lamb versus Darius Slay? So there's a lot of things we got to focus on. But I think this is the appealing point for a lot of the Cowboys. I say the playoffs start tomorrow, to be honest with you, because we got 3 tough opponents that's going to really test us and see if we're ready, if we're men or mice. So I'm ready for tomorrow, man. It's going to be a fun game.
Spoonie, eve of the eve, fella. Eagles on deck. Talk to me, Goose.
Pain, torture needs to be all that needs to be installed. There's no trophy online. It's about respect. The respect is on the line, and this is the time where the Cowboys gotta answer the bell. It's not only to the fans, but it's not only to the NFL world, but to themselves. They gotta prove to themselves that they could be this team that people are saying they're not. They gotta let these fans, these people around the NFL and the Eagles understand that when they play in the playoffs, not when we're already in the playoffs, when they play in the playoffs, they should be one of the teams that everybody should be saying, watch out for them, and not just saying that they haven't got their shit right. So this game is a lot. It means a lot. You don't want to have a backup quarterback win a division on your home court. That would be devastating. But at the same time, you got to go out there and just you will and put it all out there, 110%, and take this game and just move forward with it. And that's it.
Oh, Eagles on deck. 3:00.
Yeah, so I have a different vibe than you guys, and where I'm going with it, I think obviously you guys agree, but I'm not as excited about this game as I should be for a couple reasons. First, we already chatted about it, but the Christmas Eve game with young kids is hard, so I have that challenge I got to worry about. But it's disappointing. Honestly, it is. I should be super hyped because we're playing the Eagles. It's a chance to knock them down a peg, but this should be a game that has different meaning than what it does because of what we did last week. So I'm a little bit disappointed heading into the game. So I'm hoping the Cowboys can cheer me up by giving me a dub for Christmas. Because if they can do that, that will turn this smile around and I'll be happy about it. So I'm ready for the game, but I'm frustrated because now that we know what happened with Jalen Hurts, this game would have so much more meaning than it already does had we handled business last week. But last week's done, so it is what it is. We're moving on. But again, Cowboys, if you want to give me a dub for Christmas, I would love that.
Our guy, Space Cowboys in the building. Space.
What's going on, fellas?
Here we are.
What's up?
Right? The eve of the eve, as I said earlier.
this.
Oh.
He said, "What's going on, fellas?" And I just felt left out.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I was like, yeah.
You do
Say
me.
less.
Listen, I think it's gender neutral. What's going on, Aisha? I'm sorry. Anyways, I can't believe the game's already here. It's crazy how fast the season's going by, but
UK Cowboys in the house. Scotland, if you will.
Oh.
Shouts to my guy.
Dude.
Go ahead, Space.
Look, this game, the Dallas Cowboys have some soul searching to do, and it's not necessarily like, I get it. We're 10-4. A lot of people are kind of like, oh, this game, against a heated rival, but a lot of that hype died down because of how Sunday went and how certain things have gone. This is your last home game. Don't go out like a dud, and then you have to go on the road, and now we're just trying to scrambling to get ourselves together. But I think that you have things where we're going to try and start to experiment, which I like what the Cowboys are doing, because this is what you do. You got your playoff spot. You're going to figure how we're going to do with this corner situation, right? They're going to do some certain packages. What am I going to do with the linebacking core? All that other stuff. Stuff that we talked about, like, hey, we need to fix these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think that my approach is different. Others, yes, I would love to win these games to go into the playoffs hot, but I think I need to see this team find out what is going to be the best combination going into the tournament. That's really the aim of the game in the last 3 games. You've already gotten the job done to get there. Now it's what can you do now? Because you're going to have 2 really hard playoff game like environments on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to just see how things go there. But I think the Cowboys should be up to task. They have the roster to do it. It's just a matter of can they put the pen to the paper. So,
yeah, I think for me personally, like, okay, cool. Like, we're in the playoffs. Ultimately, we're not catching the Eagles for the division. Look, like the what would have to happen, we would win, and then they would have to lose the last 2. We win the last 2. Like, it doesn't really match up that way.
And if I can add, Nick, that would have been the case even if we'd have beat the Jaguars. So I don't understand why people feel like we lost some steam by losing to the Jaguars. Like,
no, they would have to lose 1 then. Well, pause. Because if we won, they would only have to lose 1 after us, not 2, not both.
Right. It was still a long shot, right? But
Sure.
Closer, right?
But there was more. But if we both win, right, and then we go beat them, and there's an injury, now the pressure flips over to them. Hey, you got to find a way to get this thing done, and now the pressure's just not as high. I see what you're saying,
right.
But the pressure's not as high.
Right.
Like right now, to me, I think it kind of flips back over here to, and that's why I brought about Jalen Hurts. He doesn't play defense. What are you going to do, Cowboys offense, and how are you going to lay things out and see what's going on? Man. Look, we talk about 12 o'clock games, right? In Cowboys Nation, so on and so forth. And Saturday 3 o'clock games, file that in the same damn thing. It's just okay. And now the same thing ain't there. Cool. Y'all be at the stadium getting it in. It's fantastic. Shout out to a Philly Talk podcast in the building. But yeah, I'm just like, all right, man. I mean, it's cool. Like, look, go get the dub. It's fine. Yeah, go do that. I think ultimately there's a lot of different contextual things when they talk about the Cowboys in general that matter more. Dan Quinn has to find an answer because Dan Quinn has lost enough of key players, your top 2 corners, and we've seen what's happened with Kelvin Joseph. We had this talk as soon as we knew he was going to be the starter. Walk through the door, be the 2nd round pick. He got benched in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think that's the important. That's one of the big things for this game for me is seeing what Dan Quinn's response is, because if you guys haven't noticed, like a lot of the injuries they've had recently have been in game. So I don't know if they've gotten with the quick turnarounds the adequate amount of time to look at what they have. So seeing like, okay, they're going to put Bland on the outside, they're putting Alexander on the inside. I think it's important for us to see what lineups they have in mind, so we can start at least getting an idea of what things could be like in the playoffs, or how things will be moving forward. This game is important to me, because the defensive adjustments you make right now might play into what you have to do in the playoffs. Given, I mean, you have Hankins that possibly is coming back, late, coming up back for the playoffs, as they said, and then LVE, they're saying he's coming back for the playoffs. But if those guys aren't 100% just yet, or if they are having to be eased into the offense or the defense again, I'm like, whatever adjustments you make right now may be it. You know what I'm saying? So we got to see what these units look like and what these rotations look like moving forward.
Big facts. And my guy Jolly just dropped Toxic. Jolly dropped. I don't know why you dropped. I was about to get you up here. You hit the link and come back. And of course, everybody that's in the YouTube section, it's pinned. It's right there. It's a link. You come up here, join. I'm gonna get y'all up for sure. We kind of take what we do in the spaces, bring it over this way, respectfully. But hit the link, come up here. Jolly, come on back. I saw you guys about to get you up here and you bounce. It is what it is. But nah, man, it's the holiday season, man. We're gonna have a good time. We don't want to be, spreading some things, doing some things, but keeping honest about this game coming up.
Do you think the fact, because I felt like the fact that both teams are in the playoffs, which is new to Cowboys fans, right? So let's not start acting brand new. That kind of killed some of the fire when it comes to this game for me personally. Like, it's like, are we good? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but we don't want to rest in our laurels because we know we got a lot more to prove. But I feel like we're so used to coming down to the final games in December actually meaning something. And this is what I've been trying to explain to Cowboys fans. Like, this is what you get when you handle your business up front. You don't have to deal with the pressure late in December. So it's new kind of territory for us. But I think that kind of took some of the steam out of the game. And plus also Jalen Hurts being out, because I know how Eagles fans are. They're hedging themselves with their insurance policy. But it's not going to work, because they already mentioned that this game means something for them. And it means something for the Cowboys still, even with the injuries, even with the record being as it is. So
I think it means something to the players. I mean, I think it's important, like, even Jaron Kearse mentioned in his interview, like, teams are looking at us on tape right now, and they're probably, chomping at the bit. It's important for them to put good tape out there. It's important for them to show things that other people have to adjust to. Like, Deron Blaine going to the outside, depending on how he plays, can be how the next team game plans for you. So, yeah, and again, you also do have some young guys that maybe just haven't even felt a moment this big playing against a team like this just yet. So got a lot of young guys. They need the experience. I think it matters to I think it matters to the locker room still, even so.
It definitely matters to both teams, because the Eagles winning this game clinches the NFC East. So they would love to do that on Christmas Eve against a divisional rival. So that's big for them. And the Cowboys winning then flip some of the pressure back to the Eagles, knowing that they have Jalen Hurts, who may or may not come back. And then you have we chatted about this off air last week, right after the show ended, but the Eagles are going to find themselves in a really weird predicament, depending on what happens with this game with Jalen Hurts. Because right now we've heard he's probably out 2 weeks. Could play the last week of the season. And the last week of the season, they're playing against a team who's fighting for a playoff spot. So do you play him there? Or do you rest him? Because if they win the division, you're not playing your starting quarterback for 4 consecutive weeks heading into the playoffs. It's a long time for him to be out right when the season's up. So it's kind of interesting to see what happens there. But hopefully that doesn't matter and we just handle business and beat them. Because then suddenly his timetable for return might be a little bit quicker. And then, you kind of see things go in flux at that point. So I definitely think it means something to both locker rooms. I get where you're coming from like a playoff seeding standpoint for the Cowboys, because if you look at the other teams in the wild card race, the Giants are the only team that could even win 11 games.
He's up. Alexander's up. We'll see.
Yeah, so the Giants are the only other team that could win 11 games, and we have the tiebreaker over them. So the Cowboys literally just need to win 1 out of the next 3 games to clinch the 5 seed if we don't win the division. Like, the odds of us not being the 5 seed are ridiculously low. So they do have some leeway, like Space was mentioning, like Aisha mentioned, to kind of play with these lineups and test things to see what works, what doesn't work, how guys react to a certain position, how many snaps they can put them in the position, because that's something we've seen too. You can put Jason Peters at right tackle, but can you put Jason Peters at right tackle for 30 snaps or 40 snaps? You can put certain cornerbacks outside and they'll be okay, but can you do that for half the game. And that's kind of what we're experimenting as the season goes along. And like Aisha mentioned, we have some guys coming back, which should help. But I'm really excited to see the addition with T.Y. Hilton being active this week and the cornerback. Those are the two positions that I'm really, not that I don't care about the rest, but those are the two things I'm going to be keyed in this week.
Yeah.
And I think the big and I love what Aisha said about the whole like playing with the lineups, and like you're going to most likely see this team again knowing how the conference is stacking up, and there's no guarantee. We know how the NFL can be. But I think that's going to be the biggest dilemma is like how much do you show your hand in this game, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's what that's why I'm kind of like I'm not super big on these matchups towards the end of the season. I'm not trying to be like, okay, take your foot off the gas. But at the same time, like, you know, if you beat Philadelphia, right, now you kind of have, you know, they still just have to win one game and they have home field advantage and the Super Bowl goes through Philly, right? But the
Link
big
is at
thing,
the top in Pick Six Sports. Link is at the top in Pick Six Sports.
I think the thing that I would be worried about if I'm Philadelphia is, do you start taking your foot off the gas because you've won so many games at this point to where it's like, does that start playing factor? I know some teams it doesn't, some it does. It really depends from team to team. I mean, the NFL is a lot different nowadays, guys, and that's why I'm not really big on regular season because, you know, I'm big into these trends because they sometimes tell a story, and they always tell you that the regular season doesn't matter all the time, right? Since 2000, you know how many times the best season team, like regular season-wise, won the Super Bowl? 5 times. 5 times. So it goes to show you that it does matter at some point because, hey, it's good to have home field advantage and some of these teams actually benefit. But at the same time, like, we're in a day and age where it doesn't matter. You just got to play good football, right?
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at with this.
And I'll lead with space, man. Like, even, of course, you never want to see a player get hurt, but Jalen Hurts being out actually helps the Cowboys from the standpoints, right? If he comes out, he plays tomorrow.
Both channels are going right now straight. Both channels, Pick Six and CFO.
Yeah, so say if Jalen Hurts was to play tomorrow, right? And Dan Quinn throws the kitchen sink at him, he's completely shut him down. Well, that allows him to adjust for a possible rematch. You know, so it's like I kind of like that he isn't playing because if he was to play, we come out and we kind of show our hand too early, then it gives the Eagles time to adjust in the playoffs or for a future matchup. So I feel like next week, if Malik Willis is playing, which it sounds like he will play, we'll get tested with some of those RPOs, options, you know, some of those types of things. So it's like, all right. But, you know, you just got to see, like, it's all about the Cowboys right now. Just focusing on us, cleaning things up, limiting the mistakes, and go out there playing our best football and getting that momentum going to the playoffs.
Well,
So-
I would
Go ahead, Aisha.
I say, in fairness, going back and looking at that Cowboys-Philly game earlier in the year, I know that was so long ago. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I felt like the Cowboys had a pretty vanilla, somewhat game plan. I feel like they didn't do anything flashy. They really just ran at them and were able to have success, you know, later in the game or whatever. And even with CeeDee Lamb, when he was in man, he made them pay, in my opinion. So and then also too with the tight ends, I mentioned it on our show. That game was Ferg and Henny's like coming out game. Like that's when we first were like, okay, we actually have something with these tight ends. So I say all that to say that I didn't really feel like it was anything flashy that the Cowboys did before. So maybe depending on how much Philly's defense has changed since then, which I don't seem like, it doesn't feel like it's hugely different besides like the safety position and stuff. I would come out with a similar game plan and just take it to them, in my opinion.
I'll say this more on defensive
pause
standpoint.
real quick. Let me get our first guest up, get her in, and we got another guest after that. We're going to kind of cycle through here as people are hitting the link and coming up now. So we're going to get them in here. I'll say this before I get her up here. I don't know in my entire history that I don't care about this damn game. I'm not saying I care, but ultimately I'm just like,
you killing our vibe right now.
I'm like, okay, that's cool. Hey, look,
listen,
I want to go
something?
beat them. Yeah, sure, I want to go beat them.
May I say something real quick? Because I feel
it
like
don't
we got a
matter.
Dr. Phil show.
Like, in the grand scheme of things, like whatever.
Hold on, BJ. Hold on. Let me get this.
Come on, Spoon.
Let me like this shit up here.
Let him know, Spoon.
Finish y'all real quick. We lost game 2. in Philadelphia without Dak Prescott. These clowns celebrated as if they won the fucking championship. So you mean to tell me in all the 16 weeks that I waited, that we all waited, I'm gonna sit here and bow down to them because Hurts is not playing because the scheme XYZ? Fuck all that. This is personal. This is about respect. Understand this, y'all. What the hell have they done all year that's so impressive? We understand what the record is. Yes, the record's fantastic, but look at that schedule: 25-0 against Chicago with none of their starting receivers there. Montgomery half-ass. Are we serious? 17-16 against the Indianapolis Colts on a 45-yard pass interference. So we're gonna sit here and as if they really did something. They are 9-1 against below 500 teams, 1-0 versus 500 teams, which is the Cardinals. So are we going to sit here and as if they have done more? They haven't faced adversity like we have.
Hey, take the glasses off.
They have not faced adversity at all this year. We faced it. That went down. We went 4-1. Okay, understand that. When we lost an embarrassing game against Green Bay, we responded to Minnesota and ate that grape, 40-3. What the hell have they done? This is the first time all year they've seen adversity. We're going to know what type of team they are. We're going to know if Minshew has a good game, what would they do? Go back to Minshew or go back to Hurts? We're going to find out. How are we going to find out? We're going to put them to the test. See, here's the thing, y'all. I understand we got a lot about question marks. We got questions about the cornerback position, the identity of Kellen Moore. We have a lot of questions. But make one thing clear. We got players who play with passion. They circled this game for a reason. They want to get at the Eagles for a reason. So the playoffs is about 4 or 5 weeks. I'm not saying we got time, but it's not tomorrow. Tomorrow is Eagles pie. And the last person who should be going to Dr. Phil, it'd be they asses. We ain't going to see Dr. Phil. Understand that. We're going to go celebrate our Christmas with Santa with some damn milk and cookies, almond milk, super scent milk, whatever milk is desired for your taste, and we're going to enjoy ourselves. Understand this. This is Eagles and Cowboys week, damn it.
That's what I'm talking about, Spoon. Like that channel.
I'm tired of this Eagles shit. Listen, 13-1, I give them the credit. But what's impressive? 25-0 against Justin Fields, but these networks are going to question us about any other game.
Exactly, Spoon.
By 10 points. We lost by 7. We are fucked. Are we serious?
Whoa, Spoon.
Are we serious?
Whoa.
I've been waiting for this shit. We're going to enjoy this. We're going to enjoy this victory tomorrow, y'all. They're not going to celebrate in our field. Let them take that shit against the New Orleans Saints. If they can beat the New Orleans Saints. Understand that. If they don't beat the New Orleans Saints, we know we're going to beat Texas next Thursday. And that last game in the season may be up for something. Just might be. Stay tuned.
All right. Well, let's go over to our first guest. I mean, hold on. Overtime. Our first guest, Jessica's in the building. Jessica, how are you doing on the eve of Christmas Eve? Nope. And then Jessica's gone. Say less. We'll get our next guest up here. Our guy Cole's Cowboys in the building. Cole's, how we doing, man?
What's up, gang? How y'all doing?
Man, doing fantastic, man. How you doing this eve of Christmas Eve?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. Spoony, bro, you actually lift my spirits, man. I ain't gonna even. You actually really, I've been trying to be humble, especially with all these Eagles fans. I cash a lot of wolf tickets on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? I talk my trash. But I'm ready for our boys to step up and back up my talk. You know what I'm saying? So I'm ready for us to come out there, handle business against Minshew. You know what I'm saying? Push these Eagle fans, let them have all their excuses for this week. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready for us to get this done, man.
Okay.
You ain't come on, bro.
Hey, look, the Cowboys haven't lost back-to-back games this year.
What? Hey.
Make one thing clear.
They haven't lost back-to-back games this year. Do you feel me? They haven't done that. But boy, Kellen Moore's in the slump.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I'm definitely I definitely have that in mind, and that's one thing that kind of knocked me down. Is Kellen Moore.
Pause. And Dan Quinn's in the slump.
Yeah. He's just sleeping somber right now, you know.
But you know,
look, when I tell y'all, my heart's spoony. Yeah, my heart's spoony. Spoony. Yeah, I'm ready to bang the table, do everything else, whatever. I watch the tape and look at my brain.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of this panel ain't gonna keep that same energy that we just did. Ain't no way. Because we're not doing that. Not this team right now. You talk about the Jacksonville game. I get it. 50, 34 points.
He always clap.
The Texans. Gardner Minshew can play. Gardner Minshew is better than any quarterback the Texans had. Period.
But here's the difference, right? And it's the unfortunate difference. Why I do feel like Spoon. Because even if our defense is in a slumber once again, which I don't think they will be, our offense can still put up points. Now, back in Cooper Rush, that first game, I had to take the bass out of my voice because I was just like, man, I don't know if we can score, right? But I feel like this Cowboys offense can score against this Eagles defense. And we saw what happened in that first game. And that's like the Cowboys with Dak Prescott. It's a completely different team, man. So that's why I'm confident. I can beat on my chest a little bit more because as long as I have 4 out there, I know we're not going to get dog walked out. I'll be surprised if we get dog walked the building, right? So as long as 4 is out there, there's a will is the way, man. I think our defense is going to rally because they got embarrassed. I think they've been embarrassed the last few weeks. And I feel like
you don't have the dogs anymore, though, Tug. That's the problem.
I'm gonna play someone's gonna emerge, man. I play someone's gonna emerge. I just really do.
Okay. Who's emerging at linebacker?
Jabril Cox, man. Brillo.
Okay. Who's emerging at cornerback?
Maybe Micah.
Deron Bland.
No. So you're gonna take a strength at slot, put him outside. Then who's your slot?
That we already
go with Alexander, right?
Yeah.
Stephen Jones talked about that, and he said there's a pretty good chance you're going to see him on the boundary. So it sounds like Bland is going to be the CB2 this week.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit better about that. A little bit.
Late in the game, didn't Bland go outside in Jacksonville?
Yeah, he did. And it probably wasn't. It really wasn't a big. He's better at slot. But.
We don't know.
What other options do we have? You know what I'm saying?
Option. Here's the thing, Coles. The option is. And look, and I understand Dan Quinn. Like I do understand this standpoint. Like Dan Quinn's been winning a certain way, and now he can't do it that way because of what's on the field. It's up to him to be better and dial things up for these guys to be better.
So
I think ultimately, and I'll say it like this, and I'll let everybody go. I'll mute. I said this in preseason when people were telling me it should be Micah all this time at edge and edge and edge. I said it during preseason, 60-40. 60 linebacker, 40 edge. Guess what? I'm going to move the number 65-35 for this defense to have a chance moving forward. In my opinion, I don't care. Bland outside, whoever. I don't even care. Your ultimate chess piece is Micah Parsons. He has to go back to linebacker. He has to become a second level eraser, and he has to be 65 linebacker, 35 edge in the important times for this team to get anywhere playoff wise. I ain't worried about the red. We're in the playoffs.
Right.
To get there, it's Micah Parsons at linebacker, 65-35, in my opinion. I'll mute and I'll let everybody.
Well, Nick, let me ask you that. Is that just because LVE is out, so when LVE does come back, knock on wood, then you slide on back, or is that just moving forward? Is LVE Micah at the linebacker?
I think it's in general because you've taken too many L's at other positions now. Right. And look, and no disrespect to Jaron Curse, who's playing well. I was on the sideline of the Texans game, and I was like 5 feet. There was 2 guys carrying him off in the pregame. I was like, there's no way he's playing. Because, I mean, he had no pressure on his bottom half. They were literally carrying him, but then he plays. So I think a lot of people don't understand, like, Curse is lining up and playing. He's not the same guy last year physically. But he's still coming out here and playing. We can talk about Malik Hooker and some of the issues happening there or whatever, but you have to have a guy that can spark and change things. And right now, I think for this defense and how it's constructed with the injuries and what's going on, it's Micah Parsons being on that second level and dictating. It's not just about LVE being out for me. There's some of that there, but I think ultimately you have to do what you have to do with him. Go back to last year. He was everywhere. You didn't know where he was going to line up. This year, okay, we're coming up against they know they can do things and they can pivot that way. you have to get that guy back to where he can be the facilitator to everybody else more so. And with the injuries more so than ever on the back end and linebacker position. And look, and I hope Jabril Cox comes through and we pounded the table about Jabril. I'm okay there. And look, Clark is getting there. He's not there yet. But right now, it has to be about ultimately for this defense, in my opinion, moving forward. It's about getting that guy from the rookie season on that second level and let him cause havoc moving forward in the front seven.
With it.
Oh, I mean, jump in. I mean, I'm good. I'm just that was my.
I agree with you. I agree with you. So, yeah.
I do
want to see Luke Gifford tomorrow. Look up there and see Luke Gifford.
Oh, yeah. Might as well throw him out.
Yeah, I'm about to run down there.
So I agree too, but I definitely want to say that that's why I think personally, that's why I think this game again is so important, because you have lost a key starter on every level in the last 3 weeks, and your D coordinators had to try to adjust to that in game. But this game right here, though, if I heard Mike McCarthy's interview, I want to say it was Monday, Tuesday correctly, they had started looking at this game like that week, like the week of the Texans. So they had started preparing for this game before. So I just want to see again what the adjustments are, and if those adjustments are feasible. Because I mean, in theory, like you said, with Michael going back to linebacker, okay, let's see if that works. That's what I think this game is like for me. Like seeing what works defensively, and if it does work, then you have a little bit more faith in what's going on moving forward. Because Philly run defense not that good either. So I'm just saying, like, I think we also too, we look at this team very much so in a microscope. And I'm not lying to you. I understand that the 2-corner position is an issue right now. But I just feel like every team right now has something that they're struggling with, especially on the defensive side. So I'm just trying to see how they adjust to it and fix it and move forward. This is the game for me.
We've talked a lot about the defensive side of the ball too, and I think from the offensive standpoint, this should be a pretty telling game for us as well, because we'll see Tyron Smith at right tackle for the second time. He's now had more time to prepare for it. He's facing a significantly better defensive line this time than what we faced last week. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. And then also we have the addition of T.Y. Hilton, who's active this week.
Yep.
Does he make a difference? Does he have a catch? Does he play meaningful snaps? Like, we really don't know at this point.
Ask Killer.
Well, Jerry said that he was gonna. What was the word he used? Tater tots. I think he said it was gonna matter or something. I don't know. My bad. I should have made sure.
And if his addition matters, then that's something to talk about.
It is
right. That makes a huge difference in the wide receiver room.
Yeah, because if Nick, you said you looked at the film, Tuck, I'm sure you did. Like all y'all did. Like, you see that we need an underneath guy. Like we also just need a guy that's cognizant of the scramble drill, in my opinion. Just understands. I think the guys do it situationally, but I really feel like a veteran guy would just know to just continue to track, like stay in phase through that play, because Dak right now, especially at the left tackle position, is escaping a lot. And so I want that's one of the emphasis of the game that me and Matt have talked about, that for sure I want them to get more of, and I think T.Y. can help there and get people to come up off that line a little bit. Like,
right, and not just a veteran guy, a guy who's been the guy before. So the moment won't be too bright for T.Y. to step right in there and help his offense. So that's what I'm excited about, because I feel like we know what CeeDee Lamb is going to be. Michael Gallup just really hasn't looked like himself from last year, and then you have some guys, right? So I feel like T.Y. is instantly going to boost his offense, where if you line up your third best corner or even a safety on him, that's free lunch. So that's what I'm excited to see the most tomorrow. But don't get too pass happy, Kelly. Like, Kelly has this brand new toy you want to put on display. And like, nah, man, stay balanced, man. Stay within yourself.
I don't see that personally, because Botch is stupid. But no, I don't see that personally because
I mean, we ran the ball 40 plus times last week.
Oh, look at Zeke. It's something about Philly that Zeke obviously gets up for. Like, remember, like they played him in the last game just for him to, dude gets up for that game, and I think he was averaging 6.2 yards a carry the last time they played them. they look to get him involved against Philly. Like they just do. So I do think they are going to rely on the run game early, at least early, Lord, at least early, Jesus.
Right.
Well, you know, and the other side of that, Aisha, was if we go back to the Jacksonville game, right? Zeke was actually doing better there than Pollard.
Yep.
And they didn't ride the hot hand. This, which we've been told. Oh, I mean, it's out here. We do whatever. They want to ride the hot hand. Man, y'all don't want me to go there. Listen, y'all don't want me to do it. Y'all don't want me to do it.
EJ, we got a space earlier. There's no secret that this team has problems. Besides players not playing, like we got Blank coming in, we got who may be the starter. We got Maurice Alexander. We never seen him playing in this Cowboys team before. So Michael Parsons, the conversation with Michael Parsons, we haven't seen T.Y. So I get all of that. But just like we have problems, other teams have their own problems as well. My thing is this. I feel that this team at home, even with the problems they have, are still good enough to beat the Eagles. I just feel, just my opinion, despite their 13-1 record, they're just being a little bit overvalued. Again, when we talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars losing that game, yeah, we lost a close one. They won 17-16 against the Colts. They won 24-17 against the Houston Texans. So my thing is, how great are they when, let's be honest, even against Minnesota, when they didn't have Hockenson at that time, we did. We played against Hockenson. So they elevated their game, added more pieces, and we still beat them 40-3. What have they done? Now, some people may say, well, beating the Eagles is not good enough because Jalen Hurts is not there. So you mean to tell me if we went and beat the 49ers with Brock Purdy, that would it be high enough? Of course it would be.
Right.
It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Minshew is a former starter. Cooper Rush barely had any playing time at quarterback for this Dallas Cowboys. Barely in the league of the NFL. And we still could have won that game. We had CeeDee Lamb jumping jacks in that secondary, but Cooper Rush could have given the ball. So my thing is this. Daddy's back. See, their father is back. Their father is 2-0 against them. His son has not beaten them without hurt. Understand? Yeah, I'm calling it what it is. They are the sons. We're the fathers. So what that's going to do this game, this Cowboys team going to do this game, they're going to wake them up. They're going to put them to sleep and tell them, don't get your ass up until I tell you to get up. That's what's going to be starting tomorrow. I understand all the problems. I won't go as far as saying Super Bowl. I get that. But I could definitely go game by game. And this game right here, this game means so much to these players. I mean, we're talking about Dak Prescott being called ass from one of their former players. We're talking about Michael Parsons.
Let's pivot. Hold on. Okay, hold on. You brought up a good point there. Let's pivot around the block here. I'm going to start with Aisha. I'm going to go to Space. I'm going to go to O. So, obviously, Shady McCoy, particular show,
right,
out of his mouth, on air, said, Dak is ass. That's what he said. He said, "Can I say that?" And he kind of went through a whole diatribe or whatever. Yeah. So my question will be from that. That's not nobody that currently resides in the Eagles or whatever. Do you think, Aisha, is that a tick up within the locker room, or much ado about nothing in your opinion?
I don't know. I know the players see that stuff. I don't know because, like I said, like these are young guys. Like they're young, like they're young guys, so they're on social media, so they're gonna see it. I know Dak, commented on it and just was like, I pride myself on being mentally tough, but I mean, it could be.
I haven't been on the patio for years. Catch up. I used to be though. Like, I had the frogs in the background. It was going down. Welcome back. I've not been out there for a while. Now go ahead, Aisha.
But no,
your dance ain't gonna be on the patio now.
I don't know if it's gonna be any more fuel, just because at this point, I think people understand what Shady is doing and it's laughable. But I'm sure they saw it, and that's about it. Like I'm sure they saw.
Space, for you, the Dak is ass. Shout out to my guy Rush. Merry Christmas to everybody in the building. That gets you for you, do you think little juice for the locker room? The deck his ass comment.
I mean, I would hope. I mean, listen.
Oh.
The way I look at it is that regardless of the result, there ain't. I'm not going to hear no bell, right? I didn't hear no bell. Cowboys didn't get knocked out yet, right? So the way I look at it is that, job's not finished, right? I want to see more, and I think that.
Okay.
And we saw this after the Green Bay game, right? Cowboys got embarrassed in the overtime loss.
Mm-hmm.
What did they do? They whooped ass. Open up the can of whoop ass. Do I think they're going to do the same thing here? We'll see. But if trends hold, this is typically what Dallas does. And, they should have the ability to take care of business. And I hope this fuels them. Don't be having people going out saying this. I understand, to say, oh, I didn't see it. No, they see that stuff. They definitely do. So at the end of the day, you go take care of business. On to the next week. And you keep going until that bell's rung. Plain and simple.
Tuck, as you just came back in, deck his ass. Is that pushing up the temperature, Cowboys locker room, or just much ado about nothing?
No, I don't think it does from the source that it came from. I highly doubt that the Dallas Cowboys take Shady McCoy serious. Now, if it came from Hassan Reddick or somebody like that, then maybe that would have a little bit more. Because I think Dak, he's self-motivated. He doesn't have to look at these external sources to go and get motivated, man. So, it's just Shady McCoy being, the circus right now, the clown show. So it's probably not going to move the needle for Dak. I don't think Dak's going to get even more fired up because Shady McCoy's comments. Because if Dak comes out and throws for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, he's going to go on there Monday to do the same damn circus act anyway. So,
Hey, Tuck, outside of Dak, do you think anybody else in the locker room takes that and runs with it?
I don't think that, not with those comments,
okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Micah has a fire lit because of what he went through with his Jalen Hurts comments. Because,
gotcha.
Even from that standpoint, even though he didn't say anything really malicious, he had a bunch of Eagles fans coming at him online, on social media and everything. So he definitely felt that. So I can see if there's any, internal fire or motivation because of something out like headlines or bulletin board material. I could see it happen to Micah, where Micah really wants to come out and have a big game because, you had Jordan Mailata come out and speak about it. And they talked about how Micah got shut down by Lane Johnson. So I can see Micah coming out kind of setting the foundation. But I know he's kind of been battling an illness, whatever that is, right? But I can see it with Micah.
I'm going to go with O, and then I'll go Spoon. I was going to go Spoon, but I'm going to go O first before I go to Spoon. O, Shady McCoy, things building up here this week. Dak's ass. Anything extra in the locker room for you?
I was going the exact same route as Tuck with that one. I think a current player saying it means a lot more than Shady. It just does. Because I don't want to lump in Michael Irvin with Shady, but we have a prominent Cowboys figure who's a huge homer and is always hyping up our team. And I'm sure that there's some things that he does or says that irritates Eagles players or fans to a certain extent. But it's completely different with Micah talking about Hurts in the offense and saying that they're, it's the system and blah, blah, blah. Even though he was actually I don't want to say misquoted, but it was taken out of context the way that they clipped it. But I think that stuff means a little bit more to players than something like that show. I don't even know if the players watch it. They probably aren't. They may just, see the clips on Twitter later on and hear some of the headlines about it. But I don't think it really does anything internally because, like Tuck said, I think it would maybe matter a little bit more if it was a current player. I also agree with Tuck. I do think Micah, because of the attention he got for his comments, even though it wasn't really intended that way, I think we will probably see him get juiced up. So it can work that way. Absolutely. You can have a comment hit the airwaves and a player either takes that as motivation or uses that as their own motivation because of something they said, like, well, now I have to prove the point. I think you may see that with Micah more so than anybody on the offense taking an exception. Because, again, it's another offensive player saying that. It's not a former Eagles defensive great or a current Eagles defensive player saying that where Tyler Smith or Zach Martin or anybody could be like, I took exception to that. Let me prove them wrong because that guy's not even out there anyways. And if he was playing, he also would not be on that side of the field. So, yeah, right. It's an interesting comment just because, you make a negative comment on TV. It's gonna go viral. He knows what he's doing. It's intentional. Right. Spoonie put a clip of it the very next day on a podcast, and he completely walked it back. And he tried to do it on the segment. He went from ass to, well, he's not bad. He's above average. And then caught himself and was like, oh, no, he's average, And then the next day on a podcast, was like, I didn't mean it. I shouldn't have said it that way. When I say ass, he's a top 10 or 15 quarterback still. I'm like, that's not what you said. And now that you have a much smaller viewing audience, you'll be a little bit more truthful about it. So it is what it is.
I got a guy that sorry, Uncle Spoonie.
No, go ahead.
I think y'all talking about the possible bulletin board material with Michael going on the podcast. Michael's gonna feel motivated when he look at the film from when he played Philly last, because that was like, there were a couple of instances where he was one-on-one, and it was the first time we saw him look like normal, like oh my God, like his speed, he was stuck on a lot of plays. And even DeMarcus Lawrence, really quiet week last week, right? Like those two guys, and even against Philly, like Jalen got tanked a couple of times last time. So there's some, to me, like I know like we don't think there's going to be a lot of hype, but there's also hype when these guys have to go back and look at their tape and how they performed the first time they played this team. You don't get to play a lot of teams twice. So when you do, that's why these division games are like such a big deal, because it's also a time for a guy to improve and to put better tape out there for himself. So, and for the team. So,
okay, right. Spoonie, the ass comment from Shady McCoy in that locker room.
I want to start by saying,
what do you think?
RIF.
Do what?
RIF. Rest in field. I'm serious. It's gonna happen. As I said before, last year, BJ, let's go back. Let's go talk. You was there. We were going to the 49 game.
I'm jumping. Right? I'm getting the DeLorean. Let's go back. I'm ready.
Not too back. Just the one part of the story, not the rest. Okay. But anyhow, we respond to certain things. Hey, BJ.
I was ready to go to the DeLorean. You say let's go back in time. I just jumped in the
not too far. But I'm saying this. We respectfully, I said this, because we got a lady in the house. As men, when you ride together, you roll together, you die together, you respond together. That's just being honest. Everybody knows, whether it's a sport you play or anything where you're around with the fellas, your team. When one gets the call, when one gets disrespected, everybody catches, everybody gets it, and everybody responds. The part's gonna respond to that, or it's on there. Anytime when you go to the quarterback and say we apologize that we couldn't hold down that lead and we lost this game for you, that's the type of respect you're giving to that quarterback. And we see the sidelines, the audio. You see how Dak Prescott is around his guys. So I expect. I'm not saying maybe not the whole team, but I expect the main core is gonna want to respond to how Dak would disrespect. But not only by Shady McCoy, but we're talking about other analysts out. Dak is a top 10. He's above average. He's this. He's that. Come on, we see his brother today on Twitter arguing with one of them. So it's not like his brother's arguing one of them.
And not to cut you off, Spoon, but I also saw that Tad posted something on his Instagram about protecting his brother, and it's like about a bunch of Pack Alliance, and Dak reshared that on his Instagram.
Thank you, 100%.
Yeah, right.
So this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. If folks think that this is nothing, this is, oh my God, let's forget. You may play in Texas, but you ain't all from Texas. I could play in Texas, but I know my heart and my home is Brooklyn, New York. So wherever I go, I'm bringing that attitude with me when it's needed. So if you're from Clemson, Alabama, whatever the hell you are, just because you play in Texas, it doesn't mean you're gonna respond. And there's no shade to anybody. I know cats out there. I know BJ. I'll leave it at that. But what I'm saying to you is this: these cats come from other places. Just because they play there, it doesn't mean they're gonna not have their other ways when they need to respond to something. That's what I'm saying. And no disrespect to any Philadelphia Eagles fan in here. I respect y'all. I got cool cats as y'all. I'm sorry, but we're gonna bust your ass. I'm just calling the way I'm gonna call it. I don't care.
Pause.
That's the way I'm gonna call it.
Here's the thing.
End of the day, we
hold on. Here's the thing, though, Chef. That's not a 32nd ranked quarterback. Oh no. Let me be clear here, real quick. He's not a 32nd ranked quarterback. Again, we did this preseason. We can get to where we are in the season, whatever. Argue with your mama. I don't care. He's top 8.
That's Rigo. That's Rigo, man.
He's top 8. He's top 8. He's top 8. I don't care. Look. There's Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and then whatever you like after that. Hey, y'all, real quick. Remember Russell Wilson was better than Dak before the season started?
Yeah,
y'all remember that?
You didn't have to bring Russ into this.
Justin Herbert.
Hold on. Hold on. Y'all remember whenever Derek Carr was better?
Right.
Hey, y'all remember when what's that cat from the Rams? Stafford was better?
And here's the funny thing about Stafford, because I asked this on the roundtable. People in the chat, who led the league in interceptions last year? They love him. Who was after that?
Well,
loved him. Who was after? Look, all these names that people talked out was better than Dak led in interceptions last year, but all of a sudden now this year, interceptions is just this big problem. You can't win ball games, even though we're 10-4. It's just the narrative when it comes to Dak Prescott. People got to cherry pick. Because last year, when he threw for 4,400 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, he still wasn't top 10. So these people who aren't happy with Dak, they will never be happy with Dak.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I want to ride. Let's roll.
Broncos country. Let's cry.
Yeah,
man, he played with Nathaniel Hackett for one season and turned into Zach Wilson. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like what happened to Russ. I feel bad.
Right.
Matt.
Hey, but you know Daniel Jones is better.
Oh.
Matt, you made a really good point. You posted on Twitter and said like Bones Fossil hasn't done nothing crazy in a while. Like, and we see that this week. That's a good point, man. Like, special teams has been fluky. I've been really harping on it and being hard about field position and stuff like that. I asked around, got a couple answers, just kind of looking at what's been going on. And CJ Goodwin is definitely getting double teamed. I know it sounds bad, but it is what it is. Like,
yeah,
you kind of miss KJ Gunner on these returns sometimes too. I mean, you may have his few bonehead plays, like everyone says, but at the same time, like, no,
Tony, he's not.
You also have to, elevate guys.
How much you want to bet?
I don't say he's going to score. But he's going to flip it.
Hey, you guys hold that for a second. Aisha, continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. But they're talking about the same thing. Like they're kicking the ball differently to him. Even just the way that they're kicking the ball, like there's different. The way it's coming down is hitting his hands differently. There's a lot of nuances from my understanding and like why these returns and stuff have like diminished. So I'm hoping that Bones and those guys respond just to put the offense in better situations and get better returns because. I mean, I don't know about you. I know Skywalker's talked about it all this week. I noticed it as well, is that when the Cowboys are deep in their territory, I get stressed out. Like personally, I don't know about you guys, but when they're like at their 12 or they're and granted, like Dak can go get long drives, yeah. But recently, like early in the third quarter, when they're starting at like they're 18, my chest be hurting.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that's one thing I'm looking for in this game as well is Turpin's response, now a Pro Bowler, and just seeing how Bones Fossil somewhat finds a way to generate, better returns, given that teams are kicking the ball at you different and trying to put him in different positions. It's kind of crazy.
That's something Aisha and I have been chatting about too, though. Like, there's a noticeable difference in the aggressiveness on trying to block punts this year versus last year. And I think if you're a little bit more aggressive and go after the punts, that forces them to adjust in the way that they're blocking, which may open up some in the return game. And also punters are trying to get the ball off quicker so they don't have it blocked, which means there's a greater likelihood of them kicking a line drive, not getting as much hang time on it because they can't do that. They have to kick it differently off their foot in order to do that. So the special teams unit is kind of gone under the radar because Kellen Moore is always the consistent thing we talk about. It just always will. It's always Kellen Moore. As long as he's here, We're going to talk Kellen Moore in the offense, what they did right, what they did wrong, all that. And then recently, it's the defensive injuries and how things are going, the lack of a pass rush because offense are getting rid of the ball quicker. So we really haven't talked about Bones Fossil a ton as a community because the special teams has been, Maher's been great.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a pretty good punting from Anger. Like, there's not really anything terrible to talk about, but we're also not seeing the big pop plays that we saw early in the year when you get a block punt against the Rams and that kind of sets the tone, or when you block a field goal against the Washington Commanders and it kind of changes things because special teams can be a catalyst, which it was in the last Eagles game, right? Turpin's big return is what started that Cowboys rally and effort to fight back and claw their way into that game. We just haven't seen special teams be an impact aside from field goals or something like that very often this year. So if you've been saving something, you have a back pocket play, you want to call a fake, this would be a great time to do it because the division's still on the line. You still can win it. Like Space said, there's no bell. We're not knocked out yet. You're still in contention.
Right.
Throw the kitchen sink at them. We've seen teams do that repeatedly against us recently. And Micah says they do it every week, right? And I believe him. Why don't we try that? Don't hold back. Go for the division. It's still right there. It's possible. It's not a long likelihood, but you can win now, potentially, especially with the quarterback out on the other side. So, like, if this would be a great, let's set the tone. Let's make this a statement game. It's a Christmas Eve game. You're probably going to get 40 or 45 million people tuned into it. Like, go destroy them. Destroy them. Like, do whatever you got to do. Block a punt. Call a fake. Flea flicker. I don't care what.
I mean, if we go back to the Jacksonville game, well, in the Jacksonville game, there was a guy literally right there. He just, I don't know, he ran by him. He could literally just hit the punter and block. He didn't do it, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think the Cowboys and where they're at currently overall, Turpin's been a little inaggressive at times or aggressive at the wrong times. For what it's worth, I've talked about that at length over the past month. And I think if we add up the block, man, what was it, the Texas game where actually they did get the hand on the field goal and it just still went in, right? That was just a couple weeks ago. So I think they're doing things. I mean, you look at block punts or whatever, I think the Cowboys are probably kind of high there, but maybe more aggressiveness there. Maybe so. Right. Oh,
and one thing I would like to see,
talk
about the very first year of Bones Fossil in 2020, right? Remember when Tony Pollard was on kickoff and they were kicking in the middle of the end zone, but he kept returning.
Marv, hold on. We got a special guest, Marv. You gotta mute that though, whatever that background is. We got you in here.
Pollard was on kickoff and they were kicking in the middle of the end zone, but he kept returning.
I don't know what Marv's got going on, but we got Coach Marv in the building.
Yeah, what's going on, Marv?
Go ahead, Marv.
What's going on, people? Hey, man, I enjoy all y'all coach. Y'all, Coach Marv in the building. All y'all Cowboy fans talk, man. But
I think you got to turn off your TV.
It's the echo.
Yeah, we got an echo. You got some other things going on.
I must got y'all on the background here. Hold on.
Yeah, I was like, wait, hold on.
That's better.
No, there we go. Go ahead, Marv.
There we go. Hey, listen here, man. This is what I enjoyed my man up there in the right hand corner. Man, Spoon, man, you really said what I want to say, man. We don't need to be scared of the Eagles, man. I mean, listen, how many times did they beat us in the last 2 or 3 years? Once. But they beat us by 9 points with a backup quarterback, and we had a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter in that game. So, but I will say this. This is what I really see for what I need to see for the Cowboys in these next 3 weeks. We have the team to win a Super Bowl, but it's all about the mental capacity now. Mentally, from players as well as coaches, not to have the mental mistakes that puts us in bad spots. Because from now on, the games are going to be close. There's not going to be no blowouts in the playoffs. You're going to be playing guys, teams that's got just as capable of winning the game as you. We cannot have missed assignments. We cannot have bad decisions with time management at the end of quarters or a bad decision with time management when we're trying to close games out. We can't have errant throws or taking chances when we don't have to take chances. We have to understand our identity. You see, I got this hat on, and we have to impose our will, but we have to be mentally ready because, look, we haven't lost any games because we didn't have players. We have lost games because we have beat ourselves. We didn't lose the game against San Francisco last year in the playoffs because we were lack of players. We weren't mentally ready when the game started, and we had 14 penalties. You cannot have those type of things. And if this team gets focused in and get rid of care about all this other stuff going on and focus in.
But Marv.
About doing what they supposed to do.
But Marv, the Cowboys had 40 plus carries. They won the turnover battle. They won the time of possession. They won the penalty margin, all against Jacksonville, and still lost.
And then they came down at the end of the game, and at crucial times when you were backed up and you have a 10-point lead, and they went away from what they were doing. That is a mental mistake by your coaching staff. When you are at the end of the game about to close the game out, you got a turnover. You didn't come on the field focused of saying we need a first down. You came on the field as you watched the game, you watched the sideline like the game was over. And you end up ran plays just to be running plays, and then you left in with a timeout. Mental mistakes when you're in tough games can cost you victory.
So wait. So the Cowboys had to give the ball back with this defense with barely a minute left at one timeout and couldn't get the stop.
You had to stop. If you didn't have a timeout.
No. You didn't. If you didn't have a timeout to stop. No. This defense was a minute and 14 seconds. Aisha Tuck. Minute 14 seconds, one timeout. Is that what it was?
Right.
Couldn't find the stop again. This defense against Jacksonville couldn't.
Yeah, that game. Well, last game is hard because I feel the same way about the defense. Like, hey, like you're up 27-10. Like that shouldn't be, or however much it was. Like it shouldn't be a comeback that happens. But when it came down to OT, they got the stop to start the game, to start OT, correct? Right. And so, I mean, if I'm understanding correctly, just the way football works is when OT happens, we doing something, like this is a start, like it's kind of like, hey, let's start, this is starting the game. So, I was waiting. I mean, the defense made the stop, and the offense, to Coach Marr's point, I don't know. It's something about the Cowboys offense sometimes that I feel like some drives are just wasted. You understand what I'm saying? Like sometimes you look at certain drives and it feels like a throwaway drive. It's just like, what was the plan here? Am I tripping?
No, you're not. Like you get a takeaway, and I'm not talking about after the cursed fumble because that's different because you're trying to run the clock. But you get an interception by Bland, and on first down, you run a draw or a dive. Like most teams, right after a takeaway, because you suddenly have a huge momentum swing, are uber aggressive on first down. Like that's when you do play action and go deep or attack. It doesn't have to be a 40-yard bomb, but you hit them with a 15-yard gain, and now suddenly their heels, they're on their heels. We do that a lot. Like right after a takeaway, a dive.
Mm-hmm. But I wanted to say something about that last drive when we ran the ball.
First down, you ran it with Zeke. You lost a yard.
First down, and let me explain what I have a problem with. At the end of the game, when they know you're gonna run the ball, and you know you're gonna run the ball, coaching 101 says never run a spread formation when they're down because the backside is always the one that can kill you.
Mm-hmm. And it was left unblocked.
That's coaching. Listen, that's coaching 101. We saying we got to line up and we got to get yards. You can never leave the backside open.
Right. Yeah, Mark, Mark, I like it. You're leading to my point that I want to make before we get out of here. I love it.
On second down, we ran a in the round,
Yeah.
coaching one-on-one again. Never run sideways. If we got to get some yards, to at least make it a 3rd down and 3.
I mean, go back to the regulation, right? 3rd and 1, speed option. How'd that work out?
Right.
These are what I'm saying. When I'm talking about mental capacity, I'm not only talking about players. I'm talking about
with you.
Coaches.
No, I'm with you.
In these type of situations.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you because
we don't do things that can hurt us.
Because I'm gonna
2 to 3 points mistakes, because we have to understand every game from this point on may be a nail biter. And I'm asking each one of you, are you totally confident in our coaching staff?
No.
Of making the right decision?
No.
Because to answer your question,
go ahead, Tuck.
I said, to answer your question, Marv, that's my biggest concern. I know a lot of people are thinking that we're sitting in the 5th seat and more than likely that we'll go play Tampa. Is that this coaching staff will shrink and they're playing against like a Tom Brady with the other side of the field, which it sucks because I feel like that was the reason that we brought Mike McCarthy in, is not have those moments. That's like what we went through with Jason Garrett. But it's just like, I just don't trust this coaching staff to make the right decision. Like, the game was pretty much sealed. And even if you said, listen, even if it's 3rd and 10, we intend to go for it because we want to get up out of here with a victory. We're not looking just to burn the timeouts. Then your play calling is inexcusable on that final drive. And that's my biggest frustration with the calls. Like, I thought, hell, it's 3rd and 10. That's when you do the drive, like O was saying, like not after you get a turnover. Now you just want to dive, make them burn the timeout, and then you punt it and let your defense let the chips fall where they do. You know what I'm saying? So that's my biggest frustration. It's just the clock management and the in-game decisions when it comes to this coaching staff, because we've seen it time in and time out, and it's cost us. Even go back to Green Bay, but you guys spoke about the defense. The one thing that really hurts the defense, especially when we got these big leads, is the big play. Like, the big play changes things so quickly. Because I feel like our team has this thing where it's like, all right, we might give up yardage going up the field, but they're burning time and they really have to earn it. But when you're able to have those big down the field strikes like Aaron Rodgers had, and then also what happened with Trevor Lawrence, like that gets them right back in the game. And then it kind of gets the Cowboys on their heel defensively and offensively. So that's what we have to limit. But with our secondary looking the way it is, we'll see.
I want to say this and get everybody's opinion. I said it Wednesday. I said it on the space earlier. And this is long term. I'm not trying to take no steam out of what the game is on Christmas Eve and what's going on. And I'll probably live stream that one. I'll probably be home. I'll live stream, react to it, and whatever.
You're a better man than me.
No, it's fair. It's fair. I'll be at home. It's super cold out here in East Texas right now, so I'm good. But on the back end, I think I'm just to this point now, and I hate to be this way. The Cowboys won't get to a Super Bowl with Kellen Moore. Just won't. I've said it time and time again. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. We see that week to week at times. And coming into this season, the one thing that I said was, I need him to develop a counterpunch, different things, whatever. Mm-hmm. I have seen growth. Like, I want to be clear. I have seen growth and a counterpunch perspective from him. On the back end, boy, it wasn't Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde against Jacksonville, first half, second half play calls. Like, I can't trust him against good teams. And I don't care about the talent, the quarterback, and everything else and what it can be happening. What, first and foremost, the Cowboys are soft. I hate to say that now. They've been a little soft. They just are. Now, defensively, that's because of injuries, and they got to figure some things out. But offensively, and when I say soft, I don't mean from a physical standpoint. Offensively, I mean from a diagram, what you're doing and what they're getting at. Man, he's going to fold against good teams. We saw it last year.
Good coordinators too, defensive coordinators.
Bro, when I say it's a salty dog, defensive coordinator, a salty dog.
Right.
Kellen struggles. When you're in the playoffs, you're going to see that. Man, look, I'm campaigning heart wide open, and I'm ready to get there. However, there's no, in my opinion, with Kellen Moore, man, there's no way. And a big part of that for me, and I'll mute and let everybody go. We talked about Tuck. We had this conversation before. In Spoon. Romo had the effort in him because he wasn't friends with Linehan. Dak and Kellen are buddy. It's just what it is. And Kellen at times go to 3rd and 4 in overtime. Forget everything else we talked about, the overtime game and this and that and whatever. Your play design was pick play for our number 3, who wouldn't be number 3 on other teams. No disrespect to Noah Brown, to get him the rock. And then you saw what happened. And not CeeDee Lamb. That you put the 88 on that he didn't want to get, but y'all put it on him, and you didn't call the play for him.
Right.
Fair? And during the game, I tweeted it. Go check my timeline. During the game, before we even got to the second half and over, so I'm like, Cooper Rush playing? Noah Brown get a lot of targets. What's going on?
Right.
Man, and then you fast forward to the regular, after the game or whatever, they asked Kellen Moore. Michael Gallup, Noah was hot. My fault. Should have figured that out. Because guess what? I guarantee everybody here now, against Philly, first 2 drives, I guarantee you, Michael Gallup gonna get like 6 to 4 to 7. He's gonna get all the balls. Look, them wide receiver screens we hate, Michael Gallup getting them. They gonna throw him the rock. And that's the reason, ultimately, for me, when it comes to the Cowboys, I ain't trying to be no Debbie Downer by any stretch. I'm just saying, ultimately, man, I'm tapped out finally. And this is why, as O said earlier, we're playing Philly. But ultimately, for me, I'm like, okay, this just ain't it. And that's where I'm at.
And I agree with you, Nick, because, not only just Kellen, like you said, but I think the relationship with him and Dak, because the entire 7 years that we've seen Dak Prescott here in Dallas, we have not once seen him have a blow up on the sideline with the coaching staff. It's just it's just that friendship where you trust Kellen so much. And that's one of my biggest frustrations when it comes to Dak. And it's like you mentioned soft when it comes to the offense. We don't have that personality that's going to check this offense when things are off balance. No one's going to say, nah, hell no, we're not running that. We're not doing that. It's 3rd and 10. We're not calling that. We're not going to, we just don't have that type of personality offensively to really push back. And so it's kind of just like we trust the coordinators, trust the staff, and the staff pushes offense in bad situations. And I agree it's going to be costly because they just don't understand how do you get your stars involved in big moments. The team we're going to play against on tomorrow, when things hit the fan, they're going to A.J. Brown. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to press the square button. I'm going to A.J. Brown, take it or leave it. But with the Cowboys, you might have a CD game, but you might have a Noah Brown game. Or hell, it might be Hendershot tomorrow. But when things really get tight, especially in the playoffs, when you go back to last year versus San Francisco, you got to go to Amari Cooper. You got to go to CeeDee Lamb. And I just don't trust that.
Hey, and we were running 2 offensive linemen on 7-yard hitches.
Right.
Both that's killing more still.
One-on-one
that's killing more. Go ahead, Aisha.
It's you know what? I'm not going to do it. So.
Well, Tuck, I think we talked about him earlier. I think you might have one of those guys here in T.Y. Hilton. Now you do have a guy in the locker room that has a pedigree, has the lineage, and has played with Andrew Luck, was one of the top quarterbacks at the time. So I do think you do have a veteran in here that has enough in him, as like you said, he's not afraid. He knows how to be the guy. He knows what that's about. But I think he has enough tenure to go up to Kellen and be like, hey, I know what you want me to do here, but I don't know if it makes sense.
He's going to earn that because if he was to do that,
and I hear that. And I hear that, and maybe it's not. And I hear that maybe it's not Kellen, but maybe it's Dak. Maybe it's Dak. Maybe he comes up to Dak's like, "Hey, man, I'm open right here." Because who's that veteran? There's no one. There's no one in this locker room that can say, "I've been in those situations. I know what it's about. I know how to do this." There's no one. As great as CeeDee Lamb is, he's not there yet. And so I do think that Ty hopefully can bring that element of "Hey, man, this guy ain't even pressing me." Seriously, this guy's playing off the line at me. Come to me every time. He has that mentality, and you hear how confident he is. That's why I said this game is important to me. So,
Right.
They're all important. No, Aisha. I don't want to like. Again, I said future casting. It's important, Aisha. I want to make sure that so they don't get me wrong. I know you got it, but for the chat and everybody else is listening, no, it's very important. I'm not taking the importance out of it. I'm just big picture here for me. I'm just like 3
But I think
years.
that's important, big picture. I think that's important, big picture. I agree with y'all on Kellen Moore. Like I've been critical of him too. So
right, and the problem now is look. I think Dan Quinn could have bailed us out multiple times. The injuries now have cost us defensively. So it was weird. Like last year, defensively we're getting turnovers, but the offense once the offense hit their snags, it was a problem. And now the defense is hitting their snags. So it's kind of been reversed for me. The defense is hitting the snags because of the injuries, and Kelvin Joseph hasn't walked to the door. They had to bench him. What's going on there? And Dan Quinn's got to figure it out. But this offense, though, ultimately is going to lay an egg, and that's where it is. Oh, what do you think, man?
What defenses are you going up against in the playoffs? That's my question. You mentioned salty dogs. You mentioned salty dogs.
I mean, are the Texans salty?
I hear that.
The Texans salty?
I'm talking about in the playoffs.
I don't care. Are the Texans salty? I got you. But are the Texans salty?
Yeah, sure.
No. Okay. Outdated cover 2 system. Name me 3 starters. Quick, go.
Oh, I don't know.
Jalen Peachy.
Yeah,
bruh. Okay, look, Jacksonville. Who's their defensive coordinator in Jacksonville?
It's somewhere in my notes.
Okay, cool. Hey, look, we did score 34. I got you. They held us out of the end zone 2 different times. Could have put the game away. Only made choice 17.
But that's what I'm asking though. You said that he struggles. If we're looking forward, if he struggles, which you're right. This has happened. You're right. Which defensive coordinators are you going up against in the playoffs if you do?
Tampa, number 1.
Okay.
Right. San Fran, number 2. Philly. They're there. Number 3. I mean, that might be your road.
I feel like Philly
could be your road.
I feel like Philly kind of cancels out because you get to play them twice. Not literally cancels out.
We'll see what they do against Philly. I'm with you, Aisha.
Yeah.
Depending on what we do against them this round, could do some things. I'm with that.
No, but I get what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I'm just trying to look forward as well.
And look, and Aisha, I want us to get there. Look at me, girl. I want to go. Look, I want to get to the NFC Championship game. Super Bowl is great. Just NFC Championship game. That's been my goal this entire year. But I'm looking at this team, and me and Spoon, we were in the space earlier before we got on here, and it's like we're on the cusp of Christmas Eve, and we're trying to find rhythm. Doesn't that sound a lot like last year?
That's not. You didn't get your quarterback until I feel like a lot of what's happening to you right now, number one, is happening to other teams. Like the Bills lost Jonathan Taylor. I mean, it's happening. Like guys this is the time of year where injuries happen, and good teams adjust. Like they adjust to what's happening and try to find consistency. But in regard to what's happening next week, this game, I just feel like they have an opportunity to show that they have some stuff going on. Yeah. I don't know. How do they adjust?
I got you. I'm reading that. Look. It's week to week, Aisha. I'm reading that. I'm with you. Go ahead, Spoon.
Hey, go ahead. Oh, I wanted to say something right quick.
Go ahead, Marv.
Something? We're just saying Kellen Moore is refusing to assume the identity of what this offense really is. Mm-hmm. And he's trying so hard to be so smart to say we don't have the identity.
Marv, are you saying run first?
Run first. A physical. Listen, your offensive line is built to be physical.
Oh, we. How many times did you run the ball against Jacksonville?
41 attempts against Jacksonville, and the 5th most overall this season.
41 attempts, and in the 3 most drives that we went 3 and out.
Pause. Hold up. Catch the back end. What he said? Hold on, Marv. I'm just saying catch the back end. How many in the league right now?
They have the 5th most rushing attempts this season.
And when the times get tough, when we bog down, if you watch the analytics of it, he leaves that because he says, I don't want to have that identity in times of tough to be a run team.
Hey, and at the very end of the Jacksonville game that we just talked about, me and you, Marv, we went through it, right?
Right.
First down, they ran the ball. Second down, they ran the ball. Didn't get him nowhere. That fair?
Yeah, because you ran plays just to be running plays. You didn't run plays to run the ball to be successful. You just ran plays to say I got counted a run play.
Have y'all seen?
That's the difference.
Hey, Dalton Schultz has been quiet this last 3 games. Are you guys looking for him to get more involved this game?
I mean, when it comes to Schultz, we have to question, was the $11 million franchise tag really worth it? Because he's not being the safety blanket, second, third wide receiver that we expected coming in from last season. So, I would think that you probably see Schultz get a little bit more involved, but you have the young tight ends. I'm not sure how Ferguson stands. I didn't see the injury report if it's going to give it a go tomorrow. But it's like, I feel like the young guys gives us a little bit much, more in our offense to be able to stretch the field and do a lot more things than Schultz can do right now currently versus being your underneath guy. And he's had some critical drops as well. He had one on last Sunday too. So I'm not sure what's up with Schultz, man, but we got to get together.
As much as we run 12 personnel, every
Right.
time, I want y'all to see this. Think about this. Every time your young tight ends have caught the ball, it's been a big play.
Right.
I mean, all of us want us to feature the young guys.
Every
When
time
the
your young tight
OBJ
ends
conversation
have the
first
ball,
started talking, like
it's been a big play.
when OBJ became a talking point, like what was that, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, we all on our Wednesday show said, if we get OBJ, great. We don't know the health standpoint, and obviously we know a lot more now about it than we did prior to his visit or anything like that. But I was saying, I just want to unleash these tight ends. Like, we have 3 legit tight ends that you can throw the ball to, and a 4th guy that's a heavy contributor in your run game, because McEwen's been phenomenal as a fullback.
Yes, sir.
So, like, let's embrace this 13 personnel and this 14 personnel and these looks. And that's what I was going to talk about with Kellen is, I don't know how many people here are Game of Thrones fans. I know obviously it was a huge show, but like the last season, fans got frustrated because there was a lot of continuity issues, and people asked the writers of the show, and they literally said, "Oh, I kind of forgot about that," as we were writing into this piece. I feel like that kind of happens with Kellen Moore in our offense, because there's things that work, and obviously maybe we're seeing less 13 personnel because of Ferguson's concussion, things like that. Like, I get it. But early in the season, we saw Kevontae Turpin, and again, maybe that's changed because Michael Gallup's back now and you have a little bit different receiver room, but we saw Turpin frequently, let me not say frequently, a couple times a game on jet sweep motions that we would use to run off of that, because the defense is now shifting over because they know he's a speed threat, and now you can run to the opposite side of the field, or you can go play action. And when you use the jet sweep motion to do a wheel route off of that, so you have a dude who has legit burners, and it forces the defense, even if you're not throwing the ball to him, to play a little bit differently. We haven't seen that since like week 4, week 5. Like, I don't know if Kellen forgot about it or what happened, but we just don't do that anymore. And then early in the season, we started seeing Peyton Hendershot get his opportunities, and when he was, again, even when you didn't throw the ball, you were doing wheels off of that. And it forces the safety and linebackers to adjust accordingly, because you have a guy who has wheels, and you have to account for it. And we didn't see it for weeks. We did get to see it again last week, and funny enough, we score off of it. So it just kind of feels like when people say Kellen doesn't run the ball enough or we don't have the right identity, I do think we have a very good run-pass ratio right now. I'll agree with Marv and other people that are pointing out when we run or how we run, but we are definitely running the ball more so this year than we have in years past. So he has somewhat embraced the running the ball. You can be picky on how he's running the ball and, question some of those play calling decisions, but that's kind of where I'm at with it is we start picking up things and we start getting momentum, and then we go away from it. Like last year, it was what Skywalker calls the Hulk package, right? We started showing this kind of wishbone variant look. We haven't really seen it this year. Maybe bring that back every once in a while. I don't want to load up with offensive linemen out there or anything like that, but you have tight ends now. So instead of showing 13 personnel with 2 tight ends on one side and one on the other, maybe do that look where you have 2 tight ends in the backfield with Zeke behind it or a TP. So there's things we can do. And kind of from the creativity standpoint, I feel like Kellen goes away from it and then brings it back. And if you showed it more consistently, you could build off of it a little bit easier.
I just want to be honest with y'all. The best news I got today is simply this: Robert Downey Jr. is being approached by Marvel to reprise his role as Iron Man.
You can't do that.
Wars
He died. They had
after Ironheart's failure to appeal to the audiences. Thank God.
It doesn't matter. It's cooked. Marvel cooked.
I don't care.
can't
I don't
do
care.
it.
I don't care. I just want to see him as Tony Stark again. I don't care.
I don't trust it. I'm
Marvel
ready for the
care.
new Transformers movie. But Matt,
Let me get rid of BLS, new guest.
oh hey girl,
BLS is in the building. BLS, how we doing?
hey girl.
This eve on the eve.
I'm doing all right. I really just have a quick comment and a question, and then I'm gonna step back and listen because I still can't find my headphones. But Aisha, what you said.
Well, you sound fantastic. You sound fantastic, by the way. So you're good. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. But what you said a few minutes ago about there not being anybody there right now who can really like push back and take initiative whenever it comes to, I guess, I don't want to say contradicting Kellen, but like offering an alternative way of going about things. I think that was a really good point because I was listening to Mike McCarthy on 105 Point View the Fan, and he was talking about the Zach Wilson situation, you know. And McCarthy was basically saying, like, a lot of these quarterbacks who come out of college, you know, they don't have a lot of experience with a lot of teams. They're in the system, and they know they don't have a lot of experience with dictating how things go with the offense. And so it's like, if quarterbacks don't, wide receivers definitely don't. So the idea that CB probably the talent he has would be able to do something if he hasn't taught how to do it, like, it doesn't really follow what other people should be saying about player development. But then my question following that is like, with Dak and Kellen being so close, and it seems like everybody sees the issues with Kellen, what is it about their relationship or about their interactions that makes Dak trust him so much, and whoever else on offense does trust him? That's what I'm curious about at this point, because it's like earlier me and Nick's kind of made the joke about the hypothetical or the fan fiction players only meeting that we're waiting to hear about. Probably will never happen, but it's just like, but at the same time we joke about it, but it's like also like why not? Like why won't that happen? Why aren't the players feeling a way about this?
Yeah.
Who wants to take that?
Aisha, that was for you.
No.
take
So I mean, like granted, of course, like I can't speak on all of that stuff, but I will say that like I have those instances as well where I say to myself, like, because we don't know what Dak's checking. We don't know what he's changing. We don't know any of that. But then part of you does say, like, in that 3rd and 10 situation, like you guys talked about, like, is there a better play? Is there, sometimes there's instances where I think I understand what you're saying. It's like, what instances does your quarterback just say, no, we're not running that. That doesn't make sense right here. Let me take over here. So I kind of understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
I don't know if that
I was gonna
answers your
answer
question. I don't know.
Conflict is good.
I was going to answer the question. So, because a lot of people forget, right? How did Dak Prescott end up the Cowboys quarterback in the first place, right? Tony Romo got hurt, then Kellen Moore got hurt, and then you guys had the thing where Dak Prescott emerged, right? But Dak has mentioned numerous times that Kellen was very instrumental in his growth his rookie season. So that was the connection out the gate right there. And then you had Kellen Moore, who retired, became a coordinator. So they've been connected at the hip ever since Dak came into the NFL. So that's part of the problem right there, where it's like, you know what, if I came in and Nick's or Spoonie's my offensive coordinator, I'm just going to trust my guy. Like, that's just how it is. And so that's the frustrating part. But like Aisha said, we blame Kellen for a lot of things, but we really haven't figured out that mystery piece, right? How much is Dak really changing at the line of scrimmage? Because he has full autonomy.
I got you.
We'll never know, really.
Me personally, I'll answer it because I did it right after, was it the Colts game or whatever? He changed plays to run plays. Look, I think ultimately, and we go to the Romo situation, I think he gets 2 calls, and then he goes and looks and does between the 2 calls.
Based on the line of scrimmage, what the defense is showing.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think he gets 2 calls in his ear. He comes out, he counts, and he does that. So it's not like him where Romo got a little hate about always going to a pass. That's not what Dak does. It's a little bit of him just counting and doing. However, we ain't ran a damn screen pass since like 2016 that's been good. Okay.
Right.
And different things. And then at certain times, maybe he just leans on the plate anyways and does it. It's speculatory in what we're doing. What we can say for sure is their connection is very strong, and those things are happening.
So do you think that's the issue why the show and drop disguise fronts is always the Achilles heel with the Cowboys, right? Because they're showing stacked boxes and then dropping out. So is Dak coming out, seeing a stacked box, seeing 8 in the box, and saying, okay, checking out of the run into a pass? Is that what you guys think it is? Or like
no, because they're still running the ball.
No. I mean, I could be wrong, but Matt, you brought it up, like just how different the first half was from the second half.
Right.
All of the motion and all the stuff that they do definitely aids Dak in figuring out what's going on. But I mentioned it on the show. I think that teams are attacking him more post snap now, in my opinion, and disguising and stuff like that. So.
Right.
I'm sorry.
But they're not using motion though to scheme guys open. Like, go back to the Colts game. They used
not
motion
consistently
with
anyway.
Right. I'm saying in the Colts game, they used motion throughout that game with purpose. Moving forward, they kind of went back to, is it man, is it zone, or are we even motioning at all? You know, it's just really weird in that realm. So that's why I just go back to when it comes to Kellen Moore and, you know, ultimately what we're talking about earlier, and I said it Wednesday, there's not enough there whenever it goes up into the playoffs and what's on the line. I'm sorry. Look, I want to cheer. I'm going to bleed blue. I'll be here banging the table and trying to get there. Personally, for me, and the biggest thing that happened to me over the last 2 games, and look at the tape, I'm like, it's not there. I think Kellen's gotten better this year. Now, let me be clear. I think Kellen is better this year than last year. I do. He actually has a semi counterpunch and whatnot. But overall, you're 3rd and 4 in overtime, and you're running your plays to Noah Brown. Like J-Tug, you hold on, J-Tug. You dropped the video of the preseason. Didn't you dropped the video, right? It was called what was that thing called, Tug?
I forgot. It was something about, I was trying to break down film on
no-name offense. The
Brown film. Yeah.
You throw that shit. I'm sorry. Excuse my language, ladies and gentlemen. 3rd and 4. You're running a big play. You throw the shit to 88.
Right.
What are we talking about?
Right.
And see, that's the problem with the offense. They don't know what to get back to when things hit the fan.
But we think it's going to happen in the playoffs. We think in the playoffs it's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'm going to come over here with you guys next and start sipping this Kool-Aid on this side. It ain't going to happen.
Kellen's saving a good place for playoffs, man. He got some stuff drawn up. But I think
we heard that last year. There were 7 plays last year, Tuck.
Like Kellen has this huge bag, right? But he just doesn't know what to grab. He doesn't know what to grab or when to grab it. He just reaches out. It's like, a draw play. Let's just run this one. You know what I'm saying? Like he just doesn't know when to get to what he needs to get to. And I think the most frustrating part was we saw the tale of 2 halves. We saw the first half. I'm like, Kellen is in his bag. Boom. And then it's just like, they started grabbing stuff. Like, I'm going to put a little bit of this here, a little bit of that there.
I'm telling you guys, it's a trend consistently for the last 4 games. Our second half run game, and it's not because we're not running the ball in the second half, drops in efficiency. And it should be when you have 2 good running backs like that, it should arguably get better as the game goes on, especially if you're continuing to run the ball, and our efficiency, for whatever reason, just drops off a cliff in the second half.
I can tell you why the efficiency drops. If you go back and look at it in the second half, and this has been for the last 2 years, we do not run the ball well out of shotgun formation.
Go ahead.
That's been for the last 2 years. And if you're going to run 12 personnel, people, right? If you throw the ball to your number 2 and 3 tight ends, I'm telling you from a former defensive coordinator, it's a nightmare. Because now you set up in a run formation and we are worried about the 2nd and 3rd tight ends hurting us. But if you never throw to them, right, you kill the run aspect of the offense. Watch this game coming up. we are much better under center when we run the football. I'm not saying we got to be in a cloud of dust.
Right.
But if you're going to scheme a run game, you have to scheme a run game to be productive, to set up things that you want to pass with. You just can't run the ball just to be running it.
Right. And that's really been my biggest gripe with Kellen is that, especially in two key games, the last two games you've lost, both in overtime or got to overtime, was the situational awareness with play calling. And that has been my biggest thing, is that I think, I'm not saying Kellen's stupid. I think that would be ignorant to say. I think that the problem with Kellen is that he's young, and that's usually,
we're done with that.
But
all right, fine. All right, you're gonna come. Okay. All right, cool. All right, cool. All right. Well, never mind. Anyways,
Dang, don't do him like that.
No, Spence, I love you.
Well, I keep my mouth shut for fucking 50 minutes before to get on me. Shit.
He's right. The
He's
guy's
not
young.
40. He's not 40.
But bro, how long? No, but bro. All right.
But what's more frustrating? Let me tell you what's more frustrating for people. Let me tell you
let him talk. Because I mean, in retrospect, in comparison to some of these OCs, yes, he is young. I mean, he's young.
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah, he's right. Go ahead, Space.
That's why I always look. And Aisha, going back to last year, what I say. So the problem is, the Cowboys are in win now mode with the OC figuring it out on the job. He's can't look. And again, I'm going to say it. He's better this year than last year, but he's not there yet. In Space, you're absolutely right. He's young. You're not wrong there, Space. It's just fun time.
Right. No, I understand that we're all frustrated here, but I gotta keep it a bean, bro. Like, the fact of the matter is
the bean.
The thing is he has been an offensive coordinator since 2019. Like, that is young in the coaching realm of things. I don't give a shit how old you are. Like, there is experience that you need to accumulate. And this is stupid, Space. He's not young. It doesn't matter, bro. It really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, that's why I'm not a fan of this on-the-job training stuff, and that's why I wasn't a fan of hiring him in the first place, because for me, I felt like if he went to Boise State and got that experience, we're having a different conversation if he goes back into the NFL or anything like that, right? And odds are he's better suited for the college game. But the fact is that when you have a guy that's learning under a coach that's not really, the best to learn under, that's going to affect him, right? Think about who he's going under. And Scott Linehan, Jason Garrett, they aren't the best people to learn under, right? And the fact of the matter is that I'm not happy with where he's at, because this is the growing pains we got to deal with. And that's why I wasn't a fan of the hire initially. Because, okay, well, when is he going to get there? And that's the problem, right? What are we dealing with right now? Situationally speaking, we have situations where, okay, why is it that everyone's running the same route? Like, that's so unoriginal, right? Or when we're running the ball, there are these moments where it feels like, okay, maybe he learned it, and then he just goes away from it. Because there's this arrogance to him, and that is unfortunately the part of him that I'm not sure if that's ever going to get coached out of him. That's why when McCarthy came in here, it's like, okay, maybe McCarthy can hold him by the hand, but then you got the politics of the room, and they want to be like, Kellen, let Kellen do his thing, right? And that's my main problem, right? That's my main problem, is that what Kellen, like, I get it. Good head coaches allow their coordinators to do their thing. And if you need help, they'll be there. But that's the problem. That's been our problem.
But that's my question. That was my question for the panel. If you guys want to answer, is like, with how the NFC has shaped up, how, I guess, open it looks at this point, do any of y'all think that Mike McCarthy would see the urgency of the matter and step in this situation and be like, can y'all see that happening at any point in time? Like, the Cowboys are in a big game, well, say past the wild card, like the divisional round, and there's some of this stuff going on in the second half. This is win or go home. Do you think your head coach has it in him to be like, hey, I'm taking over right now, or I got this drive, or whatever the case may be?
That's the frustrating part about this whole, we done talked about Kellen Moore, but the frustrating part is a person that has the mantle of head coach, and you got time management problems. You got problems at in-game strategy to hold the ball or to get rid of the timeout. Those are head coaching decisions. those are the things that head coaches do. They say, oh, yes, he's not taking the reins from Kellen Moore, but he can say, hey, let's slow it down. I need let's get some clock off. And you're right. You made the best question, Lisa. Is Mike McCarthy going to take those reins? Because if he doesn't, with the talent on this team,
it's not going to happen in Dallas.
Burn because of a young guy that doesn't know what he's doing, and he let it. He should be held and malpractice himself, because he got to understand, if he don't and it crash and burn, he still will get blamed. If he do, what are you gonna do? Get mad? If I win a Super Bowl, they gonna get mad and fire me.
I'm telling you, that would be that's the politics of the room, because of how this front office loves Kellen. If he goes rogue, I guarantee you, even if we make it to the NFC Championship game, I wouldn't be shocked if there was some crazy shit that happened in Dallas. Like, that's just, but it's not going to happen. I don't see it happening, because like Nick said, it's not going to happen here in Dallas. He's not going to do that, because we know how things are here. And I don't agree with that. I was like, on my channel, I was like, yo, I would love it if we got to the postseason and Mike went rogue and was like doing all these things that we've been wanting to see. I would love to see that, but that's just the nature of the business. So,
what you think, Professor? What you think, Uncle Spoonie? Sorry.
No, it's a good question. What I feel is, if he was going to do that, he would have done it.
Right.
More so than what we've seen so far. It's entirely possible. It is entirely possible for him to have that moment, like what Space mentioned, where he's like, my job's on the line, or Mark mentioned too, my job's on the line. I either have to do it now and fail or succeed with it, or not, because you don't see a lot of guys get a third head coaching opportunity or a fourth head coaching opportunity. This is trip number 2, and he's had some success, right? Like, we've made the playoffs, and now we're making the playoffs again under him.
Yep.
But you got to go more than that, because that's not the standard in Dallas, and that's not the standard in the NFL. Like, unless you're a team that's completely rebuilding, maybe you have a lower expectation, but Jerry Jones doesn't have that expectation, right or wrong. So I feel like if we were going to see Mike McCarthy take more of a hold on it, we probably would have seen it already. I do think there has been levels to that, like Mike McCarthy in the preseason, in early regular season, saying, I don't like these stop routes. I don't like these option routes. Not stop routes. I don't like these option routes. We still do them, but I definitely think we've toned that down. So I think he's put somewhat of a fingerprint on it, but he's not snatched that thing away from Kellen Moore by any means. So
how does that happen, man? How does that happen when the head coach said, I don't want these? And somebody else said,
his face.
and somebody else said, I'm going to do it anyway.
Dude.
What kind of discipline can you have with the rest of the team? If you're the head coach and you said, I don't want to do this, and your subordinate says, I'm going to do it anyway.
You got to understand, bro, this is the other thing, too, is, like, I understand that there's the dialogue of, well, then why didn't Mike take the job?
Hey,
because he understands.
You're right, Nick. I think, listen, I'm a long-time Cowboy fan, and I've been a long-time coach. Yeah. And I have been trying to fight this too, as you. Right? But again, I've said, the football gods do not play around. And there's levels to this thing. And when you get into the tight, we're not going to see it in certain games. You're going to see this dysfunction in the biggest moments.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you're going to see it.
And here we are.
Y'all have
Get ready
killed
down the
my
stretch.
whole. I want y'all to know y'all have killed my whole Christmas vibe.
No. Nah, don't be like that.
No, Nix, because you the culprit. Because you been like that all week. All week you been. I don't give a fuck.
I'm not going to apologize for that.
You ain't gotta
You're welcome.
apologize. But
You're
I'm
welcome.
telling y'all have really. I feel like I gotta go look at film. Y'all have stressed me out.
I mean,
Hey,
I would.
Double I. Just go back to the last 2 years. Last 2 years of Kellen Moore film. You tell me with your eye and where you're at watching film, you believe.
No, I feel you, and I agree with y'all. And it's unfortunate.
And I hate it. I don't look.
It's unfortunate. The players what y'all been saying? Players have to overcome that. Like I know that sounds like horrible to say, but with how the NFC is right now, man, like this is such a grand opportunity for all of them. They all better get some fire lit under their booty. I'm just being for real. Like
you're right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. My problem is now is it goes back to Kellen because of the injuries on defense, and we can't be that same defense we were earlier. Again, it goes back to the answer of moving Micah and let's see what we happen, let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
But this defense can't be the same. Look, if this defense was clear bill of health, right? Clear bill of health, I'm good here. It can overcome some of the things that Kellen Moore does. We're not there now. We're talking about putting real quick. And everybody, no, look, it's cool. We're going to take Bland now and put him outside. That's what we're talking about. 5th round pick rookie from Fresno State. Now let's put him outside.
Well, I mean, we can't talk about how well he's played at corner at the nickel and he was a 5th round and then be like, oh, we're gonna put him outside.
He hasn't played on the outside. Look, now Aisha, you know, slot versus outside, 2 different beasts.
No, absolutely. It is 2 different beasts, but in a sense though, like he has the boundary to help him. It's less space to cover. He already has shown he has a nose for the ball. He tackles well.
So why was Brown better on the outside than the slot then?
Well, because you had a need. Well, wait, say it again. You said why was Brown better on the outside than in the slot?
Yeah.
I thought that. I personally always thought that Anthony Brown played better in the slot anyway.
Yeah, he did.
No, Marv, he did not.
Okay, I mean, maybe
he
I
never.
can't.
No. Why do y'all think Jordan Lewis was a slot guy and not him?
Well, because I mean, I think Jordan Lewis he's been the nickel because of his communication, but also too, I feel like because of how he tackles in the slot and how active he is.
Well, I mean, if he tackles better, he's a better slot then, right?
Can I say why?
No, you can say why. I just don't.
And I agree with you, Lisa. I think Brown was, because if you look at the last year, at the end of the year, they benched Jordan Lewis and moved Brown to the slot.
What you think, Matt? I see you up there.
I think Brown is a bit, and the reason why, because you didn't have nobody to play the outside. And if you look at the Cowboys since Brown been hurt, their starting base defense, Bland's been on the outside. This when they come into nickel, that's when Joseph comes. They move.
That's not
Bland
true.
inside.
Did y'all watch Jacksonville in the slot?
I'm talking when they go nickel, Bland goes inside. Right. He goes outside. When they're in their base package, you check it. When they're in that base package,
I got you. I'm listening. I'm just
he's
listening.
on the outside. He's starting outside.
Matt, you didn't see him on the outside at all?
80% of the time. 70% of the time. But when they go to their base package, which they're probably going to stay in their base package.
What's the base? What's the base? What's the base package? What's the base package? What's the base package 70% of the time? What's the base?
Your base package is 2 corners, 2 safeties. It's not you don't start off with a nickel.
Yeah. Go ahead there.
You don't start off with a nickel. You can tell me that you look it up. You don't start off in the nickel.
I just don't understand why we're acting as though like.
No, we're good. I just want to hear what O got to say. You're good.
Yeah. Do we not think he can play on the outside? I'm confused.
I mean, I think moving Bland, if you're to be clear, I wanted to give Izzy a shot, but Izzy's off the table. They're not doing that. So when we talked about this on Wednesday, my starting 3 this week, because you play nickel 70% of the time in the NFL. That's where Nick's going with that. So your starting 3 cornerbacks should be Bland on the outside.
70% is two cornerbacks, 2 safeties.
Quinn said that in this conference that Bland was on the outside, and when he came to nickel, that when Joseph came in.
Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, real quick, I gotta bounce. I just want to tell everybody, Merry Christmas. Y'all be blessed. Let's get this Cowboys win tomorrow. Dominate, celebrate. Blessings to everybody.
Bunker Spoon.
Appreciate you, Spoon.
Bye.
Merry Christmas, Spoon. Talk to you at the back end.
I do think that they made the right call, though. I think Bland should be outside this week because it kind of, in my mind, without changing the whole argument to the offensive line, is we had a predicament, obviously a different situation with Tyron Smith coming back and Terrence Steele being out. And instead of, in Nick's, your comment with moving Bland is you said Bland is a strength in the nickel spot and you don't want to move him. Tyron Smith is your best left tackle and should be your strength at left tackle, but you did move him. Granted, part of that was because he came out and said that he needed to, and then the Steele situation. But I do think if you're experimenting anyways, you should put the better player on the outside and see what it looks like. Now, if you do it for half a game, a quarter, the rest of the season, obviously that remains to be seen. But I think they should absolutely do that. And you're looking at the defense is going to have to change in general for us to have success moving into the playoffs, because whether that's moving Micah back at linebacker more, whether that's being more aggressive and blitzing more, showing more cover 2 looks, whatever we need to do, we've kind of lost our stride due to the injuries in the way that the offense has adjusted to us. We're not getting home to the quarterback as often because they're getting the ball out quicker, and they're getting the ball out quicker because you're playing your cornerbacks off coverage. So something has to change if you want the pass rush to get back home, because early in the season, teams are playing right into the strength of the Cowboys defense. They're not doing that as much anymore, and you have injuries piling up, and that kind of adds to the situation. But I like Bland. I haven't seen enough of him on the outside to say, no, you should absolutely not do that. Going back to the Jordan Lewis, Anthony Brown conversation, originally it was a preference thing because Chris Richard didn't like short cornerbacks. Yep. He didn't want him to start, and fans were begging for Jordan Lewis to get the starting opportunity over Anthony Brown. There was a size preference there, and that it is what it is. I do think that Anthony Brown is better on the outside than in the slot personally, but I know that there's a lot of fans that disagree with that too, that said they thought he was better in the slot. But back to the current team, because that's most important right now. Brown's out. He's not here. It is what it is. Lewis is out. He's not here. So Bland has done enough good this year for me to give him the benefit of the doubt and test it out and see what it looks like, because you can pull back on that quickly. You have Trayvon Mullen, a former second-round pick. You have Mackenzie Alexander, who started like 60 games or something in the NFL. You have options if it doesn't work. I have no problem rolling it out and seeing what it looks like, because at this point, throw the sink at him. Do whatever it takes. You know, the Avengers thing, whatever it takes. I just want to win the game. I just want to win playoff games. And if you win a playoff game, maybe you win 2. If you win the 2 games, maybe you win 3. You never know. But if you keep what's happening right now on the defense, I don't see a playoff win in our future.
Right. And I talking about Michael Parsons earlier, and I agree with you so much, Nick. You were so right about Michael Parsons. I was one of the people as well that was, when we were talking about him, edge rushing. At this particular point in time, teams are making Parsons a part of maybe 20% of the defensive snaps where he's going to be an impact player. I need Michael Parsons to be an impact player on more plays, not only from the linebacker position as well as the edge rusher position. The more plays that I get him to be an impact player where you have to think about blocking him and causing disruption, the better he's going to be. But if you put him on the defensive end and they make him a read option guy, you actually just taking him out of the game and say, wherever he goes, we do the opposite. But if you get him from where sometimes he attacks from the inside out, as well as you blitz him from the middle linebacker position. Tampa Bay has a middle linebacker that blitz from the middle linebacker position to get 10 sacks.
Before we go too far on that,
that's probably 11 to 12, 13 sacks.
My bad cutting you off, but I really want to hear what Space has to say about this conversation too.
Well, because I have work early tomorrow, so I wanted to.
Yeah, but we're 2 hours in. Shout out to the chat and everything else. Round table, get some people up out of here. Aisha's over here like.
I was gonna say.
We've been 2 hours in. We've been 2 hours in. I know. Go ahead, Space.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got work tomorrow, and I have to work Christmas Day, unfortunately. So that's my life. It's okay. Someone's got to do the job. But anyways, with that being said, I want to mention this to Cowboys fans. Listen, first, happy holidays to everybody, and I want to just say this. I understand that when I say regular season doesn't matter, right? People say that I'm thinking like these games don't matter. There's nothing. No, they do, because of course they are what builds your team for the runs. But the reason I say that is because ultimately, what's the main goal of the regular season? Get into the tournament. Because you know what happens in the tournament? Anything can happen. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, well, that means the Cowboys are going to do. No, for all I know, Dallas loses to Tampa Bay. That could be our fate. But at the same time, I have seen crazier stuff happen. And just because that's the case doesn't mean it can't happen to Dallas. I understand we've been snake bitten. I get that. But at the end of the day, I didn't think we were going to be here. 110%. I did not think we were going to be here. I thought the season was over when Dak was hurt.
Leg injury, right.
I'm going to just listen. I'll call myself out. But look, we're 10-4. We're in the postseason again. Listen, I'm playing with house money right now. Like, in my opinion. So, for all I care, whatever Dallas does at this point, if they win one playoff game, boom, cool. You did better than what you did last season, right? But I'm not trying to say that that's the standard. Absolutely not. We know what the standard is here. So I do believe you have 3 games to figure this out. And a lot of it on the defensive side of the ball is health.
Yeah.
And I think that you can. I don't think it's going to be
back
back
to the last 2 weeks.
Right.
The last 2 or 3 weeks. The war of attrition is really what the Cowboys have lost over the last
Exactly. And the big thing is that the war of attrition is affecting the defense. And while I don't think they're going to be at that same level we saw at the earlier part of the season, all I need you to do,
right,
knowing my offense could put up 28 points a game or 27 points a game, just limit a team to 20 points. That's all I need, right? And I think that you can see the path work ahead, and we're going to see what happens versus Philly. We're going to see what happens versus we're going to see that. Dallas is going to get that. But at the end, what?
Base, what you're saying is currently it's back on Dan Quinn. All of a sudden, the leash, the length of the leash for Dan Quinn has shortened now.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Is that you have those pieces. You do have the opportunity to fix this, but if you don't and you keep doing the same stuff, we all know what the end result's going to be. All right, guys, I have to get going. I got work very early tomorrow. Thank you guys so much. And I hope you guys have a great holiday, and hopefully we get a win tomorrow. So,
our last guest of the night, Jolly. I love that it's Jolly, by the way. Now, Jolly. I'm gonna say the rest of it. I'm just gonna go with Jolly. How you doing, brother? Hopefully, you are ready to rock for Christmas. How you doing, man?
It's good. I am braving the Elliott wind gusts. It's like 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and I lost power and internet for a good 2.5 hours. So
I saw you, and I brought you, and then you disappeared. I was like, "What happened?"
Yeah. Xfinity was like, "Yeah, we're done," and that was that. And I wanted to ask Space Cowboy how old he is because all that hope, I just
hopium.
Warms my heart. All the stories, all that. This year is different.
I just got hope. Look at Aisha. Look how
I actually really do because I just he literally just talked about you being unhealthy and like we've had a lot of conversations in it. I just think that if they get a corner, I'm like, if you get a corner that can just get somebody to just look off of there for 2 seconds, you might be better. I'm like, if you get a linebacker that can play with depth, you might be better. I don't feel like it's as huge of a fix as everyone is like freaking out about.
I equate the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
They remind me of my one good friend who always has a reason why something doesn't go wrong. There is just always something, and there is always something with this team. Death, taxes, and the Cowboys finding a way to just fuck it up. I'm at the point where it's just like enough talk. If you lose to Gardner Minshew, boo that team off the field and just get ready for the off season. I'm tired of it. The toxicness is so bad right now because it's not going to change. And when Kellen Moore becomes the head coach, I want Cowboy Nation to be like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Y'all know I can't engage in this talk.
You good. I wouldn't ask you to. I wouldn't ask you to.
I hate that but look at everything that's going down. It's almost picturesque of how his stepdad, the protected boy genius, who the head coach always got all the blame, even though his offense faltered in the fourth and down the stretch when Jason Garrett was the OC. Did Jerry Jones ever publicly criticize Jason Garrett? No, he didn't. He gave him everything.
And then eventually let go of him, though.
Look, Jolly is unloading the clip because he has no power.
He's
unloading the clip right
so
now.
when do we get the Jolly version? Because that was
Jolly.
the chat agrees. There's no jolliness there.
The truth is jolliness. And I said months and weeks ago, I remember last year, I said they're going to lose in the first round of the playoffs. Look how they're playing down the stretch. Look at these constant red flags that
You got
are
3 games left.
But we were just talking about it, Toxic. But I mean, I understand we all have said what we have to say about Kellen Moore and his play calling. We got that. Again, at this point, I'm not going to complain about it. Your quarterback going to have to, unfortunately, overcome it at this point.
Yeah.
That's whatever. But on the defensive side of the ball, if you're talking about December and what's been happening in December, like this spiral, I guess you want to say, yeah, dude, like dudes are injured in key spots and you're trying to adjust to it. And I just don't understand. Like, we always make it seem like this stuff is simple to just adjust to. Like we've talked about, all those guys do key things in key spots. I mean, you lost 2 of your starting corners. So I feel like the drop off and all that stuff was kind of to be expected. So I don't understand why everybody's freaking out. Like,
I'm actually with Aisha on this one. Mainly because, like, I think I said this either earlier this week or last week. Like, one of the things that we do see consistently with the Cowboys is that they haven't figured out how to respond well to things that they haven't seen before. And so that's why, do I want them to win tomorrow? Yes. But with it being that there's going to be a backup QB in there, I think it's very possible that they're going to see some things that they didn't see on film, things that they weren't prepared for, things that have tripped them up in the past. So it's like, if they were to lose, I'd be like, okay, well, that's par for the course, actually. So we haven't really gotten worse. It's not a sign that the Cowboys are worse than we thought they were. It's actually a part of their pattern. And I think, like Aisha is saying, things like that aren't as easy to fix, especially in a short week, especially when you have another short week coming up after this. Because there was, I don't remember who's press conference, but they were talking about how whenever they have short weeks, they're going to have to like start looking towards the next game before the first game has even happened. So we might see a few mistakes over this stretch of a couple of games. And I would just like caution everybody against freaking out, as I used to say, because these things do take time to fix, especially when you're trying to figure out who should go with, and you're moving people around, and you're trying to figure out, like, okay, all these things that we're seeing at the end of the season, how can we guard ourselves against that moving forward? That's a lot to take into consideration. And I know we want to see them be better every game and win every game.
We're breaking up.
But I'm not sorry.
You breaking up, sis?
Super breaking up, sis. Yeah, BLSU was super breaking up. Here's the thing, Loki. Let me be clear about my take when I talk about Kellen Moore. I'll be out here in these streets. Don't get it twisted. I'll be out in these streets, pounding my chest and cheering for the Cowboys to go all the way. But I'm going to tell you what my mind tells me and what's going on, and it's not there. That doesn't change me in my fandom, but I think with the context and what we try to do here ultimately with Pick Six Sports and everything else, we try to talk about the content, we try to be the right way, what's going on with the Cowboys, and we want to be, or we try to deliver it with context. No, are the Cowboys set up to just not go anywhere? I don't think that's what we're saying here, or me. I'll put it on me. I don't think that's what I'm saying here. However, there's a lot of extra hurdles that I think they have to overcome from a coaching standpoint. That's an issue as we're going down the stretch here. Is that fair?
Sorry, I was trying to get it to unmute.
There it is.
I hit the wrong button, and it was doing like a picture-in-picture. So I had like our screen and like a small. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I was like, let me just beat this. No, I don't think that's unfair at all. It's just, we're at the point of the year where if you win this game, things change, right? You're I don't want to say like hopium pumps through the airways, but there now becomes a legit chance that you could win the division. And if you can win the division, that also changes things too. But we have to look at what we've seen, right? Like, we all want the Cowboys to win. None of us, like, Toxic doesn't want to, maybe he does, I don't know. Most fans don't want to be Toxic, right? They want, he would probably happily be just jolly Tom Downey's burner account as much as possible. But at some point, you have to see it to believe it. And that's something we've talked about recently. Like, we've had this, right? We've had good seasons where the offense is booming, defense is struggling, defense is booming, offense is struggling. Both are in rhythm, but not at the same time. Like, we've seen this before. At some point, you just got to put it together. And if you do that, then maybe, things change. And we had this exact conversation heading into the 2-game stretch of the Vikings and Giants, because coming off of the Green Bay loss, which was a worse loss to me than the Jacksonville Jaguars loss because of the situation. And I know we blew a 17-point lead. I get that. But where I'm going at was, we had 2 back-to-back games against teams that had winning records. And the Cowboys now have 5 wins this year, as of right now, against teams with winning records. That's more than any other team in the league. The Eagles are second with 4. So we have been able to beat good teams, but it's different when it's the playoffs. We don't have a track record of having postseason runs. And if we did, we probably wouldn't feel as negative as we do now, because you're like, we just need that 1 year where everything clicks and all the stars align. And now we're looking at it like almost 3 decades later, like at some point they eventually will, but win. And you have a team early in the year where most of us, myself included, was like, this defense is special. They can carry the offense. The offense just needs to score 22 points, 24 points, and you're good. And now the offense is building and the defense is dropping. And obviously some of that's adjusting to you, but I don't feel like we're at this point 3 games heading into the playoffs that we're at a spot where I'm like, both units are, building up momentum as we go. There's still time to do it, and beating Philly will go a long way towards that. So let's beat them.
If the Cowboys show up and like go out here and monkey something like 34-13. Ticker tape parade. The Cowboys are all the way. I mean, we can just kind of know what's going to happen there for sure.
I guess my big question, and I read my background is I did 10 years in the Army, carried a Dallas Cowboy hat with me in Afghanistan. I love this team, but at some point, when you are constantly running into the same issue over and over again, and we're having this issue of our coaching is going to be a hurdle, at some point, you got to start asking yourself, why aren't we getting over this whole hurdle? Why is this not working? And that is, Staff Sergeant Caldwell's coming up. That's my name. Stop fucking around with the bullshit. I want to win. Why aren't we winning? What is the issue?
I mean, we're 10-4. Pause. We're 10-4. We're winning.
Never heard of the 10-4 trophy. I'm sick and tired.
That's crazy, because what you should buy, we're back-to-back playoffs for the first time since when?
06-07.
06-07.
Phil,
forgot about that Governor's Cup trophy, bro. We won a trophy already. We already won the Governor's Cup.
Things are trending.
Forget about that.
Things are trending.
We're going up.
That's been a team that's been very dormant for a while. At least you're going. You got to start somewhere. As bad as I am on other things and what we're talking about, but okay, they're there. Where we're at. Marv, go right ahead, because I'm gonna get up out of here after you get out.
I don't. But y'all, I don't feel as bad about the defenses. Then we're talking about the defensive trending so far down.
Nix's face.
Let me tell you.
What?
The quarterback position. Yes, that may be, but I believe that we can get desperate.
Marv, did the Texas? Hold on, Marv.
Okay.
Hold on, Marv. Did the Texans play 2 quarterbacks in a rotation?
Right.
Was they carving our ass up?
Yeah, they scored 28 points to another team.
Hey, you see what just happened this last week? Like, bruh, this defense is not going in the right direction. It's not.
Listen to me. Okay. We'll see. And I think
we'll see. We'll see. No. I don't want to hear about we'll see.
Listen. Can I say something? Can I finish my statement? We're talking about we're injured in the linebacker situation. I believe we're going to be better in the linebacker situation, because if you watch film on LVE, he had one good game. The rest of them was blah. I mean, I'll challenge anybody to take this.
Man, you're way out of bounds on LVE.
The game before, okay,
you watch LVE leave. What happened?
I'm gonna ask you this question: the game before he had 14 tackles. The game before that he had 1 tackle.
Green Bay game, he got nicked up, right? They put Parsons back there. How'd that work? Brother, you're wrong on LVE. Look, it's a great national media standpoint. It's cool.
I'm just
whatever. LVE. Look, if you don't know,
I can tell you when we can watch film on LVE and when we can hear about what people are saying or how they said it.
Sure.
But the game before, the 14 tackle game, he had 1 tackle.
Wow, that's live by die by. 10-4, 1 game he had 1 tackle. He's trashed the whole year. That's where you're at.
I'm not saying trash, but
no. That's what you're trying. No, that's what you're going to tell me.
Dude,
LV is your best linebacker. LV is literally the best linebacker on this team.
He might be right now. Yeah.
Who's better?
Yeah, he is the best.
So why are you arguing with me then?
That's been a problem. But don't say that he's your best linebacker and that you saying that he's playing well.
But he is though. Like that's the problem with a lot of y'all.
He is.
The Cowboys that I talk to. Period. Like, look, I'm not saying he's a premier all-pro linebacker. You can't have all pros at every position, Marv. You can't have that. But you have to have constant
film study. Don't lie.
And the film study says he's a adequate starting linebacker.
I'm not going with no opinion. I'm talking the eye in the sky don't lie.
I'm with you. I'm agreeing with the eye in the sky. I'm agreeing with the eye in the sky. He's your best linebacker. Hey, guess what? He would start for 70% of other teams. Like, what are we talking about here?
He would start for 70% of other teams?
70.
So why is he back in Dallas for a $2 million contract?
Because he was injured.
Yeah.
Things happen.
He played 17 games
He's going to get a big
year.
You don't think
he played 17 games last year. And you mean to tell me the going rate for middle linebacker starting is $2 million?
Brother, you're pivoting. You're pivoting what he's done this year. You're pivoting. He got signed because things with injuries and things that happened to him wasn't clear. When I talk about LVE, my same context about LVE is simply this. Going into the draft, which I attended, by the way, I said his problem in college is he can't get off blocks. If you keep him clean, he'll make plays for you. My entire point, my draft pronounced everything about him. You got to the league. You keep him clean, he'll go make plays. He doesn't get off blocks. That's never been indifferent from him. From the time he was here, did well, did anything. But if you keep LVE clean, he'll make plays for you. Now, here's the funny point about that. Y'all remember Ray Lewis? Great all-time linebacker, right? Right? Okay. Then there was a guy in front of him in his first early years. You remember the defense tackles in front of him? You remember that guy, Marv? I mean, me and you, we got salt in the game, so I know you know who he is.
What you talking about?
You know about Sam Williams? You don't remember how the okay?
Oh, you talking about that guy? You said the defensive lineman. I thought you were talking about
D tackle.
Yeah, Sam Williams and Sarah Gusa.
No, come on. And then all of a sudden they left, right? And they said, "Oh shit, Ray Lewis is washed. He's not good anymore." You know who showed up then? That Samoan. You remember that Samoan that showed up?
Yeah, but Ray wasn't about Washington at that time.
The guy too. And then all of a sudden, Ray Lewis came back to be in prominence. Like, we have to understand the game, right? We got to understand the game.
I'm asking you this. I'm saying this.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case with a linebacker, and all of the NFL are looking
it's
at
every linebacker though.
Okay, let me. And all the NFL is looking at a linebacker, and you are from a first round pick, and you had an injury. Hold up, and you had a injury history, but you played the most snaps in your last 3 years. You played 17 games the year before, and the only thing on the board is a $2 million contract.
That means nothing on the field. Hold on, wait. Whoa. Did you like what J-Ron Curse did last year? Did you like J-Ron Curse?
Yeah.
Okay. What was his contract this offseason? Don't talk to me about money.
A 2-year, $5 million contract. $5 million.
Don't talk to me about money.
Okay.
He didn't get paid dick. He didn't get paid dick.
But there is no linebacker in the NFL that you talking about.
No, you talking about linebacker. Jalen Kearse should have been a Pro Bowler. Look at Jalen Kearse's numbers. Look what he got paid. It doesn't matter. The dudes get hosed all the time at the table. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
That's the only offer he got. So what did they base that off? Why did nobody else offer him that?
Why nobody offered Jalen Kearse then?
They offered Jalen Kearse because
nobody offered Jalen Kearse. Nobody offered Jalen Kearse, Marv. Why they offer Jalen Kearse? What did he do last year? What's the difference?
Tell me that film that says when
so you tell me film says that Kearse
is not a good linebacker.
Kearse ain't the guy. You know what? Kearse ain't the guy. You right. Kearse ain't the guy. See, we got the same argument now. So you can't win with that over here.
You see LVE.
So Kearse ain't the guy. Marv, Kearse ain't the guy.
I challenge anybody to get
Kearse ain't the guy.
We watch 5 games.
Kearse ain't the guy. Kearse ain't the guy. No. I'm asking you, Marv. Kearse ain't the guy. Nobody offered him. Nobody offered Kearse. Right? He's not the guy. So keep your same energy with the contract and everything else.
I'm just saying we can talk about Kearse or whatever.
You can talk about whatever you want to. Hey, guess who's been to a Pro? Hey, who's been to a Pro Bowl? Who's been to a Pro Bowl? Kearse or hold on? Who's been to a Pro Bowl? LV or Kearse?
That way.
Who's been to a Pro Bowl?
Prove your point.
Is LVE? Hold on, Marv. Marv. Has LVE? Marv has LVE? Has LVE? Marv, has LVE been to a Pro Bowl? Has Kearse been to a Pro Bowl?
No, Kearse ain't never been to a Pro Bowl.
But LVE has. So what's the problem? What's the okay? Look, Kearse been around here for like 5 years. You like Kearse is a rookie. Kearse been here.
All right, I'm gonna say this, okay? So
yeah, Marv, you can't win with that argument.
I say again,
if LVE wasn't the man,
you're right. Don't lie. LVE's been good this year. You ain't watched the film.
Okay.
If he wasn't the man, we wouldn't have so many issues with him being removed, right? Because obviously he meant something. Not only that, but contrary to popular belief, it's not so much that film lies, right? Like, because I wanted to say film can lie. It's not that film can lie. It's we can choose to focus on whatever we want, right? So it's like how people say numbers don't lie, they can be manipulated. People say film can't lie, film can be manipulated. Like we can decide to pay attention to one thing and not the other. It happens all the time. I'm learning how to watch film and I catch myself doing it all the time. So I know it's possible. So LVE meant something to the defense. We can see it when he's gone. We can see it in the statements that people make about him. They talk not only about his game, but the amount of communication that he did, what he did in terms of leadership for the defense. So, like, he wasn't, making super huge plays on every time they were on defense, but he did something to hold that defense together and make it possible for other people to make plays, and that matters. You can't sit here and act like it doesn't matter because one game happened. So, like, you might be out on this on your own because everybody else, every expert, even people who I consider like cash analysts, are kind of in agreement. Like, yeah, LVE brought something to the defense, and we can see the difference now that it's gone.
Okay.
So, on that note, here's why I think we're going to win this game tomorrow.
No. O's been out here freezing and doing everything else. I'm gonna let O go so we can get up out of here. Me and Marv are gonna argue later.
You guys go right ahead. Argue that all you want. I'm staying out of that one. I gotta run. Christmas Eve tomorrow. Got to do some stuff with the kids in the morning. But good chatting with you guys.
Hey, let's get up out of here on that. Christmas. Hey, everybody! Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Enjoy everything that's in front of you. Have a great time. Just understand that Coach Marv's wrong about LVE and I'm right, and we'll talk later about it. Y'all be safe. Shout out to everybody that enjoyed tonight and had a good time the whole nine. I
hope we're both wrong about Kellen Moore though.
No. I mean, I'm with you. I hope we're both wrong about Kellen Moore. Absolutely. I agree with that with you, Marv. I hope we're both wrong about Kellen Moore. Jolly came back up here just for me to end the show, which is great. I want to bring his ass up here. Shout out to our guy Jolly in the building. BLS, everybody, y'all be safe. Enjoy your Christmas. You know what? I'll be at home. I'm gonna I'll just live stream the game and watch my crazy ass reactions. I'll be here. And I'm gonna talk shit about Marv tomorrow about LVE. I'm just joking, Marv. I love you, man. brother. I appreciate you coming by. I've been waiting for you to come by here. It's been a great time talking with you, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Y'all. Merry Christmas to all, man.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to Aisha coming through tonight, our special guest, and of course, shout out to J-Tech as well. Spoonie getting in there. Oh, I know you hate tomorrow. I know the young kids, 3 o'clock. Oh my God, I can't wait to see your inboxes and tell me like, oh, so much is going on.
Real quick, too, before we hop out, I saw it in the chat earlier. Just wasn't a really good opportunity to bring it up, but shout out to Joey. Joey is a friend of the show.
Yes.
And it's his birthday today, or was his birthday. So
Joe.
Happy birthday to you, bro.
Yeah, happy birthday to our guy Joe, for sure. Be safe, and no matter what I think about Kellen Moore in this offense and everything else, NFC Championship game, that's what I want for Christmas. I know y'all might want Super Bowl. I just want an NFC Championship game. Get me there, and let's move forward. Be safe, Cowboys Nation, and we will catch up with y'all tomorrow.